the back corner when I'm not presenting.
Listening in.
And listen in.
Hey everybody, welcome to Bass University Live here on Tuesday night.
Take a quick break, watch John Cruz's on the Tokyo rig.
Be a part of the show, get some chances to win some awesome prizes.
This Bass Yugo, you know, we didn't have that back then. And dude, it could just...
That text thread gives me so much energy. I mean, like I'm dialed.
Everybody, welcome to Bass University Live. Glad you could join us tonight. Really got a cool guest coming on tonight. I'm excited to be speaking with him. We've got Juff Gustafson, fresh off an Elite Series win, tremendous win using a technique that the whole field seemed to miss, fishing deep water, using his Humminbird electronics, his side imaging, his 360 and 2D sonar. And really schooling us all on an amazing technique to catch fish that are really, really tough to catch in wintertime, cold water scenarios, in this particular case anyway. And it's great. I can't wait to have him on. He's going to be letting us in on all the details. Of course, we're going to be diving in the way that we do it here at Bass U. We're going to get the details for you so that we all can try to learn this technique and get out and use it on our own when we're out on the water. So that's going to be awesome. Can't wait to have him on. He's going to be with us here shortly. And we've got a full house tonight. It's really cool. Great to have GDP back in the house. He's fresh off the Elite tour, two events under his belt. Man, it's good to have you back in the house.
It's good to be back, for sure.
That is great. You had a strong finish down there in Tennessee, and it's good to come home after a good derby. You know, it gets you motivated going into the next one.
It definitely does, man. It's you know, that was one of the toughest events I probably ever fished. I think Bass as a whole that night, besides the Three Rivers. So it's pretty cool to semi-catch them.
Yeah, well, right. You caught them better than most, and that's a good finish. So good job. Good to have you back in. And I see Professional Fishhead. He's on the Zoom call with me, coming in from Georgia. Good to have you, buddy.
Great to be here, man. Looking forward to diving in with the winter, man.
We're going to be talking sonar. We're going to be talking. Have you ever utilized this technique in the winter down there and those waters that you fish down there? I know when it gets cold, the floating fly comes out in Tennessee. I don't know if this technique has ever made it in any of your tournaments.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if there's any differences that, with this whole moping thing that he's got going on. We use a Damiki rig down here for spots a lot. It's been hot the last couple winters, and it actually, darn near won the BFL that I was in last time. I don't think it won, but there was a lot of Damiki rig guys in the top 10 for sure. Guys are definitely onto it, but everybody's fishing it differently. Like in Tennessee, they tight line it. They let it pendulum. They'll also drop it, but they want to keep it above the fish. They don't want it to go to the bottom. And down here, we'll actually go, we want it to go to the bottom sometimes. And so it's kind of cool to see how guys fish a little jig head with a minnow on it so differently, but
moping.
It works.
Yeah, it's called moping. It's really, really cool strategy. And we're going to be diving in with Gussy here shortly on it, guys. So stay tuned for that. And we've got our boys in the house. Man, I thought we were in trouble there, BTC, but you pulled it off. You got us off on time.
Hey there, Peter. Hold on. We're here. Not out of the woods yet. You know what I mean? Still dealing with stuff.
We were losing monitors. We were dealing with all kinds of stuff.
What was it like?
You pulled
3
it off.
shows ago, Rich? The comment was made that like everything's just so smooth and nothing's been going wrong.
I remember calling you before one of the shows. It was when it was one of the ones that I was remote, and I was like, oh yeah, you need anything, everything. Because you're like, No, man, it's been so easy lately. Everything seems to work all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the last time we said that.
And then we had that telethon, and nothing's been right since.
And I'm hearing your audio is a little low, Bri. So
It always how about that?
Too high.
we're getting there.
Well, I saw you went it fishing in the rain, Riz, and was your tackle dry yet?
I saw him fishing in the rain too.
Yeah, Greg actually drove. He was driving down the highway and saw me standing out there in 42-degree rain. You know,
Nice.
just making some casts, enjoying myself. But no, it was it was good, man. I got the the new to me boat in the driveway, so we're getting things rigged and starting to get the feel for things. It was good to just get out and kind of go through the motions, just make some casts, even if I knew I wasn't going to catch anything, just kind of get back to the feel. So
Heck yeah, man. I look forward to getting out. I know we got nice weather coming tomorrow. Spring's on its way. So we're all going to be out there after it like GDP is. And for those that are stuck in the house, never better time to join Bass University TV. We've got a 30-day free trial still active, and we've got a great promotion for all annual subscribers, and we're going to be giving away lots of prizes tonight for anybody. If we use your question on the air and you're a Bass U TV subscriber, we're going to be hooking you up, and we've got a lot of prizes. Riz, what do we got going on tonight?
Tonight, Pete, we're going with a TH Marine prize pack. That's going to be a $100 TH Marine prize pack for a Bass University TV subscriber, who we will announce at the end of the show. And we also have a $50 Facebook like and share contest going on, which is a TH Marine pack over on Facebook. So if you're not on BassU.tv, one, you're messing up, because there's over 800 videos on the website, all designed to help you catch more big bass. We got the best member benefits program going, and it's like a family over here. We're just all set. We're helping each other catch more big bass. So, but if you are over on Facebook and you insist on staying over there, that's fine. Like and share the feed, and you'll get entered in for a chance to win that. And anybody that gets a question through to the show tonight, we're going to be hooking up with prizes as well. And guys, to get involved with that, you got to get signed up on Bass U TV. Right now, you can take advantage of 10% off an annual subscription. And when you sign up, we're giving you a $25 shopping spree gift card to Tackle Warehouse. So we're not only giving you fishing information, we're setting you up with fish and tackle too. Go over there and take advantage of that. If you want to just try it out for 30 days, you can start that tonight. Use the code BULive30, and that'll get you signed up for the entire program. No questions asked.
Outstanding. We love to have you. We've gotten so many new subscribers in 2021. It's been awesome. It's been great interacting with you guys at our classes, on our forum, and all the other places on social. So it's been great having you guys, and we've got a lot of great content over at Bass U. New stuff coming out all the time. So look for all that stuff. None more important than the John Cox shallow cranking seminar, which was amazing. He just used that to have a dominant performance, and it was amazing to watch a guy that self-described didn't know much about cranking. Right, he was new to the game, and now he's taken this flat side, and he has won a tournament down in Texas, and had some tremendous performances with it so far, and he did in this recent tournament as well. So look for that. It's available over on BassU.tv. So we've got that going on. We're going to take a quick break, guys. I want to, invite you guys to go get subscribed. We're going to bring on Jeff Gustafson. We're going to be talking about moping, talking about catching deep water fish in the winter season, using your sonar, all the tricks and techniques that he's learned from his fishing up in Canada, he applied directly to dominate the Bassmaster Elite tournament just this past week down in Tennessee. So stay with us. We're going to be right back with Jeff on Pete Kluzak for Bass U TV.
Moment on the water not spent fishing is a moment wasted. That's why Minn Kota and Humminbird have joined forces to bring you the One Boat Network. Products that communicate and integrate to help you take full command of your boat. Born from our commitment to making the most advanced fishing gear even better by making it work together. The One Boat Network will help you find, get to, stay on, and catch more fish. When One Boat Network products talk to each other, they can navigate your boat automatically. They can give you a crystal clear view of what's below with no messy wires. And they can let you lower, raise, and change shallow water anchor modes from anywhere on the boat. But that's just the beginning. We're never done innovating, integrating, and making your boat simpler and easier to control. All so you can make every second on the water count.
Tackle Warehouse is proud to sponsor the FLW Pro Circuit and is the official tackle retailer of FLW, providing proven bass fishing gear as well as the newest and hottest tackle. Our friendly and knowledgeable customer service staff can help you every step of the way. And we offer free ground shipping on orders over $50. Tackle Warehouse. Everything for the bass angler at the lowest prices. Guaranteed.
I have to be constantly on the lookout for new techniques to stay on the top of my game.
Giant.
Some have been more successful than others.
Giant.
The finesse fingernail.
Happens every time.
The chain gang.
Broke it off.
The crow's nest.
Never let go.
And don't even get me started on tackle management, especially trying to stop rust and corrosion. Peanut butter.
Not good.
Motor oil.
Gotta keep the rust off all these baits.
WD-40.
Keep the rust off.
Silica, toothpicks, Q-tips, the list goes on and on. I'm hard on tackle, I fish fast, I need my tackle organized and protected. I can't be worrying about losing baits to rust. And when it comes to tackle management, there's only one solution. Flambeau Tackle Storage Systems with Z-Rust technology. The original anti-rust tackle box. Uncompromised clarity. Renowned durability. The infused anti-rust option that is FDA safe and free of harmful chemicals. The organization options are endless, but there's only one. One box, one anti-corrosion technology, one family-owned, American-made brand, Flambeau Z-Rust Tackle Solutions. Preserve, perform, repeat.
Moment on the
Hey everybody, welcome back to Bass University Live. Thanks for the point out, GDP. Appreciate you. Guys, you're just tuning in. We've got Gussy. We got Jeff Gustafson coming on tonight with a historic wire-to-wire win on smallmouth that everybody said couldn't be done.
Couldn't be done.
And he did it. He did it. 18-inch limit on smallmouth down there, and it was an incredible win. Did you even look for smallmouth during that tournament, Greg? Did you dial in on the largemouth? How did you roll in that derby?
All largemouth every day.
Nice.
Yep.
Shallow fishing, you saw the water dropping, you know.
I did. I kind of like set up what I was doing actually, but I fished I did fish some deeper water, but it was still for largemouth. But I basically keyed in, I would say, from like 10 feet to 0.
Gotcha. What was your deal?
Oh, you want to hop right into it?
Yeah.
So mine was kind of the same a little bit, man. I Lake Master really played a big part in mine, and actually Lake Master Plus did, believe it or not. So what I was doing was kind of on the first day, it was one of them things where I had an idea and I went and tried it and it worked right away. So what I was doing, anytime there was a channel swing that meant the bank, whether it was main river or in a creek, and it had docks against it, I caught fish every time I pulled up on one, every single time. A lot of them were shorts. Over the course of the tournament in 3 days, I probably legit caught 50 fish, but unfortunately getting to that 14-inch size limit is pretty hard, for largemouth, as you saw.
Right.
But, the fish were there. It definitely was a good pattern. One thing in particular, like I said, I was fishing docks, and I think with the falling water, when you have that vertical, poles in the water, and obviously docks hold heat also, I think the fish were just relating to that really good. And also because we had muddier water, too, in the back of the creeks, a lot of the spots. Fish just got to go up and down. And I was throwing just a small finesse jig on them, on a spinning rod until I caught every fish.
Well, I heard you give the shout out to Humminbird and Lake Master when you weighed in. and talk about that exact thing, you know, doing those channel swings and that was awesome, man. It was great. You know, it's great to get the momentum going. And where's the next tournament?
Yeah, so we have Pickwick next. That's going to be, me and Rose were just talking about it. I mean, if it lines up, it could be a potential Century Belt tournament. It could be really, really good.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's warming up.
Very.
Yeah, it's especially warming up down there, man. It's have you ever fished Pickwick before?
No. Both these places never been to.
It's a big one. It's a monster lake.
I bet.
And are they going to let you lock through into Wilson? They normally do.
No locking.
No kidding.
Yep.
Wow, that's unfortunate. I think Mark Menendez won the first tournament I fished down there by locking through up into Wilson.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so that's a crazy lock. It's the scariest thing that I've ever been involved in is getting inside that lock. It was originally like the largest vertical drop.
Was it scarier than when you went through the pipe with Brian the Carpenter on the Delaware River?
You know, it's right there with it. those were two. Those, I gotta be honest. If you add the 12-foot waves on Lake Ontario, they're the three scariest moments in my boat.
That's pretty scary.
Yeah,
12-foot waves.
Yeah, they were pretty. They were treacherous, but
I wasn't scared till you were scared, Pete.
Who was driving? Delaware.
I was driving. The scariest part is we had to go underneath this concrete. Like there was like an inch between my Minn Kota and the concrete. So if that concrete pour was dipped down even a little bit,
it'd be less than an inch.
Yeah, we were stuck. But the scariest part was BTC was on the deck, laying down, like trying to hand walk to keep the hull. Yeah, wall walking to keep the hull pressed down into the water. And I'm like, oh my God, there's going to be a cabin cruiser go by and a wave surge is going to come under us and just smash him right against the concrete, you know?
I never factor worst case scenario, Pete.
He'd be a BLT.
I was so scared. That would have been a pressed burger. Yeah. But we got through it. I'm telling you, it took me, 10, 15 minutes to recover, just hyperventilate. I don't think I breathed the entire trip under there. And it was like 300 yards to get under that darn thing, man. It goes on forever.
Wow. Yes, it does.
But that lock going up into Lake Wilson is like if that lock operator opens up those floodgates, everybody drowns. You know, it's so high.
Drowns.
Woo!
It's so high up there, and they got to let all this water in, and oh man, it's first time I did it. It was pretty intimidating, but that's weird that you guys aren't allowed to go up there. But giant lake, quick Pickwick story. I think I was telling JK this the other day. My buddy Chuck Economo, who fished on the Bass Top 100 with me on Pickwick, caught a 29-pound stringer of smallmouth in that tournament, and he's coming on his way back in, and you don't know the lake that well, but there's islands, and you have to wrap the channel around the islands, but it looks like a false channel that goes behind the islands, and he thought he was in the shipping channel or the boat, the navigation channel, and he went behind the islands instead, wedged himself up on a sandbar on the way to weigh-in, and lost 5 minutes, had a 5-minute penalty on a 29-pound stringer of fish, and actually weighed 24 and change after his penalty.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Still a giant bag.
Yeah.
Dude,
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw one that big.
Okay.
Right? It's the time of year.
Yeah, it is.
And a bass trail almost saw them that big. They were shelling them out left and right this weekend.
Is that right?
Yeah. I thought I saw one update. Somebody had 27, took the lead, and then another guy took the lead from him, and then I think 27.89 ended up winning or something.
Wow. Well,
they're pumping them out, man.
That lake's got giants.
Got 'em.
And Chuck was so, frazzled from his scenario that he asked me to put the fish in the bag for him. And I'm picking these smallmouth up, and they're 6-pounders. They're all giant, just footballs, but they're real long, like the southern impoundment smallmouth, but they're also fat, like the northern ones were. They were the double threat there, and they were like carp, man, just putting these giant fish in the bag. I'll never forget that.
5-tool smallmouth. They swim, they eat.
Did you say 5-tool smallmouth?
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. Well done, dude. Way to bring it back. Pitchers and catchers reporting soon.
Awesome. Giants. But this guy that we've got coming on,
Pete,
also caught giants.
I threw him in the waiting room so that you can do your thing. He's a champion, brother.
Well, he is the champ. He won wire to wire. He dominated the tournament down there. He did it on smallmouth that everybody said it couldn't be done. Couldn't catch that many 18-inch smallmouth 4 days in a row and win the tournament. He did that. He just taken things by storm on the Elite Series trail. Guys, this was the most impressive thing that I found out about Gussy when I was getting prepared for tonight. He is 100% in the money in Bassmaster tournament competition.
Are you kidding me?
What?
Holy shit.
100%. He's never failed to cash a check in fishing on the Bassmaster Trail.
Dude,
crap.
I cannot say I have ever seen that before.
That's unbelievable.
Now, yep.
Unbelievable.
Get him in here.
Unbelievable.
So BTC, without any further ado, man, let's bring the champ.
Oh, he left.
Gussy.
There he is. Jeff Gustafson, the champ. Thanks for being with us tonight, buddy.
Oh, thanks for having me. Made it home back to Canada here, and it was a long week, and just kind of getting recovered, and I still got like a couple hundred messages on my phone I haven't got to yet, and it's all pretty cool.
So is the party stopped yet, or is it continuing? It looked like it was going pretty good when you were getting the call from home and the family. It looked like the party was in full throttle.
They did a full breach. Yeah, they had a good time the other day, and so I hit the border yesterday, and they wiped the smile right off my face real quick.
Oh no!
Back to Canada. I got 14-day quarantine, so pretty much sit at home here for 10 days, and then until I go back to Pickwick, and then I think my wife went into work today and told her boss that I think she's going to take a little bit of time off and come with me, and then we'll probably just stay down in the States until after the Classic in June.
Nice.
It's just tough coming back and forth. So
Yeah.
I know she really likes Greg's wife Kelly, and she's
Holla.
made friends with
Brian
several other gals,
Who doesn't?
and-
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Let's get a round of applause for Kelly, everybody.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys.
Back to you, Gus.
That's now what happens. I thought the border was closed. How are you able to keep going back and forth?
So like, since it's my job, you're allowed to like there's a lot of cross-border workers, and so they, I've had luckily, we got that kind of figured out. Trip helped out with that. A few guys that work for U.S. Customs, and so we've been able to. It's been pretty smooth to get in.
Oh, see, man, I'm disappointed. I the whole time I'm seeing you like launching in Kingston, going through the islands over to the New York border at night, sneaking in.
Underwater
Well, like-
operations.
Yeah, when all this started, that's what Fighter said. He'd show up on the south end of Lake of the Woods with his boat and come and grab me if I.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Oh man,
There was smoke hanging out of one side, and
Up on.
yeah, off on.
Yeah, that's the way to smuggle right there. Well, we're glad. Now, you just said you're quarantined for 14 days. How does that, because Greg, you just said you're leaving. How's that impact the next tournament for you?
Well, it's just like while I'm in Canada, so I'm allowed to break it to go back to the U.S. That's where the one I actually am clear for that. So yeah, it's all good. It's just while I'm home here, yeah, not going to get to have a big party necessarily, but we will.
Well, it's cool. You know,
we've got a lot of damn trophies there, Pete. Just notice that.
Well, when you've been doing it since 1492, you know, they tend to stack up, you know. Now, well, we have some. These are the best. These are cool trophies. These plaques over here.
Yeah.
Because every time you get a check in a tournament, they used to give you a plaque.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal. So, you know, a lot of these are 40th place finish, but I'm happy to have them. But,
it looks like KVD's wall in there kind of right now. So don't even tell anybody that. Just like, yeah, I used to win a lot, you know.
He's won quite a bit. Don't let him lie to you.
I know he has.
But you're doing something, you know, speaking of making the money, you make the money every single time. That's impossible.
Well,
you do it.
He did it.
I've donated. I've done a lot of donating. So, you know, good start to the year though. Good start to this season. And yeah, it was quite a weekend. It was pretty awesome. I had the worst practice probably that I've ever had. And I had no idea going into the event, like what I kind of found. And pretty crazy how it goes sometimes, you know?
Hey,
yeah.
Pete, Gussy, I don't know. You didn't hear us the introduction, right?
No.
All right. So Pete brought up the fact that you are in the money in Bassmaster events 100% of the time.
Well, because I've only been fishing for 3 years, and they paid everybody the last 2 years. So I got to be honest.
You should not have been honest.
It's like Pete the ball, just let it ride.
Last year at Lake Fork, I finished. I don't know how anyone finished worse than me, but I got third last. I had two-day total of 3 pounds at Lake Fork. So that did not deserve a check, but I got a sympathy like $2,500 or $3,500 or something for that one.
Gift certificate to Sizzler.
Yeah. No, it's not that good. It's not that good.
You should have played us. We'd have bought right into it. You know, it's all about being consistent. Is about mental focus and strategy, and we'd all bought in.
Pete, haven't you been winning the James River since like 2000? What year was that? You've won the James River like 12 times, right?
I took the lead once in the James River, and everybody thinks I won that tournament, and I take full credit. I never ever set them straight when they say it.
Dude, that's the power of the machine, man. Bash, you went and promoted that. You took the lead, and then I don't think we ever even congratulated Rick Morris that year.
Who? No, that was great. I still get it. Every time we go back there, people congratulate me for that. I love it. But this win was spectacular. You went wire to wire. You did something that everybody said you couldn't do. You did it with smallmouth. I could see them every single day. You could hear the commentators. It's not going to happen. They can't make it. There's not enough smallmouth. Everybody was saying the same thing, but boy, you found a way to prove them all wrong.
Yeah. Like when I found the fish on Wednesday afternoon, last day of practice, caught like a 17-incher, maybe a 16-incher and a 15-incher. And I set the hook on a couple of these, and there was buddies with them. And then like I caught 3 largemouths the first day, 3 keepers. The biggest was like 2 pounds. Never got a keeper the second day, and never caught a keeper the third day. And I just decided I'd go, drift over these smallmouths a couple times, start my day off. It was kind of like as far as I was going to run. And if I caught a keeper, great. It would be, better than 2 14-inch largemouths. And I pulled up there and literally couldn't drop my bait down there fast enough, and just started lighting them up. And I in the first 15 minutes, I bet you I caught a dozen, and 3 of them were like big solid keepers, like 19 and 20 inchers. and quite a few like 16 and set. Like I caught a lot of nice fish every day. I mean, my thumb is like, I don't know if you can see that, but like my thumb was destroyed. You know, part of that was it was raining and they were soft, but like that canal was like loaded with fish. And I mean, I had no idea. And even after the first day, I was like, did I get lucky? Like, really, did I just get lucky today? And then when I went back the second day and it was still on, I mean, then it was real. And like, I'm going to have a good chance to win the tournament. And luckily cause you know, you don't get those opportunities all the time. And I've been doing it long enough where, you know, you hope you maximize what you find when you find something special. And you know, luckily no one else really found those fish. And, I had it to myself and I could kind of manage it and it worked out.
Well, it did, obviously. And, you know, I've fished a tournament there years ago, and our smallmouth played a factor, but it was during the spawn. And, you know, the guys would, you know, use swim baits and you could catch, if you could find a spawn, but they weren't that concentrated. So it was really amazing that you found a concentration, you know, that kept coming and coming.
And like, that's been my experience in that part of the country and on the Tennessee River. I mean, if you catch a smallmouth, generally it's just like a lucky random one, you know? And like, I can remember like going and fishing tournaments at Pickwick and Cumberland, maybe like some FLW tour events. And like, the guys are like picking me to do good because I'm a smallmouth guy. And it's like those smallmouths down there, like there's usually like not a single thing relatable to like smallmouths up north. And I mean, I don't know if you'd agree with that, but the way I caught them there, these ones were, I mean, it's just like, that's a technique that's hanging a minnow or moping or Damiki rig, whatever you want to call it. I mean, that's like, I've caught more smallmouths doing that than probably on any other technique. Like it was just something that I'm really comfortable with and done for a long time. And I only had like 5 or 6 of the jigs that I used with me. Like I never went there. You know, I carry a little 3600 Plano box with just an assortment of jigs in it that just like never leaves the boat, you know? And I have 100 of them at home, 100 of those jigs. And I had like 5 or 6, like the last day, all the jigs I had were like haggard, beat up ones. And I actually borrowed a couple from Fider that were, you know, not exactly what I was using, just so David Mullins gave me a couple just so I had a few extra jigs in case. But yeah, unreal. It's unreal.
Gus,
it was unreal.
I gotta jump in here and ask you a question.
Yeah.
So I've heard more than once that kind of the days of getting over top of fish and dropping down on them, directly down on them, have kind of like come and gone because fish have kind of become used to sonar and, you know, the jig is up. Do you think the fact that you were fishing these fish on the Tennessee River in kind of a, I don't want to say off the wall way, but a different way, you know, that these fish might not have been so much used to that, and that was part of being so effective? Like it was something different, or?
I think so. Like I can pretty much guarantee you these fish had never seen that deal before. Cause like if they were there, it was like, they were really easy to catch and they were biting. And I mean, but I would agree with you. I mean, you see it now. I see it at home here. And I mean, we have pretty unpressured fish, and even here you gotta, you know, if you know where like the juice is, you just try to pitch to it before, you know, versus like back in the day, we would always just get right on top of them, drop down, catch them. And
how much current were you dealing with?
There's a lot more current there than you'd think. Like the first couple days, it was probably like 0.8 to 1 mile an hour. And then on the last day, like that wind was really cranking through there. It was up to like over 3 miles an hour. Like I had my Ultrex on 10 just to like hold into the wind and current and to like try and stay on top of my bait.
What kind of batteries are you running?
I got some new ones this year, X2s.
Are they the new ones?
The big AGMs, high-end AGMs, yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know. I'm a big fan. I don't really like change. I'm a big fan of the high-end AGM batteries, and like a lot of the guys all the guys I stay with have lithiums, and they have way more issues. And I don't know. I'm not like in a bad mood.
What were you seeing first on your like? Were you looking for the boulders first or the fish first?
Yeah, I honestly never marked a single fish that wasn't like after my bait. And I have a Helix 12 on my console, and it's the best graph I've ever had on a boat. Like, it is phenomenal dialed. These things were laying right in those holes around the rocks, and I mean, you would never see them. So what I did was I just drift with the current, and I'd hold my bait like 1 to 2 feet above the bottom, and there was like clusters of rock, and they were just lay on the back sides of them out of the current, like pretty standard. And I would just try to like float along, and I would get random ones every once in a while, but like most of them came from like the really specific back sides of these rocks. But I would, like, so say you had a rock here, like, and your bait's coming along, and it was important to watch it so I could pull it up and not get snagged, and then drop it in these holes. And then like right there, the fish would either come up and just smoke it, or some of them would like get on it and follow it, and they'd go up, go down, go up. And then that's where, being able to see them, I'd give the bait a little shake, maybe lift it a bit. I got denied by plenty, but I mean, the majority that got on it, I would catch. And, you'd get a few, I just call them drive-bys, like good bites that you don't hook. And I think they just come and like smoke that thing probably with their mouth closed.
When you're drifting, Gus, are you setting your trolling motor on like a north heading and setting it to like, say, 4.5 miles an hour, or are you keeping it on a setting and then towing it like to control your drift as you're going back, or is there no trolling motor at all?
No, the trolling motor was key, but I just had to, like, it was different kind of every day, and it changed by the hour just depending on the current. I don't know what, I think they would pull more water in the afternoons, like I think, and maybe that's why like the mornings were better, but the current would change, and then if there was any wind, that would change it. But I just used the trolling motor. Like sometimes it was just an easy natural drift, but a lot of times I would actually have to chase the bait around with the trolling motor just to like be able to maintain seeing it.
Let me ask you, were you impacting the cover at all? Were you purposefully like not like hitting the rocks? You were trying not to.
Yeah. So like all the years of doing that up here, it's like the biggest no curse to let your bait hit the bottom. Like when I'm at home, if I'm going to drop down on them, I want to watch my bait as it's going down, and like never, if you drop it and hit the bottom and they see it hit the bottom, like they know something's up, and they don't like that. And I mean, down there, it didn't matter because I was drifting, so I wasn't necessarily getting right on top of them and dropping. So I would pitch the bait out in front of me, let it hit the bottom, and then get sort of set. And just doing it over and over, I mean, I had a pretty good feel for where my bait was going to show up on my screen and that sort of thing. But in general, yeah. And the funny thing, like spotted bass don't really love that technique. Like, they like it when your bait goes to the bottom, and if they follow it down, it's like a dead bass, probably guaranteed. But the smallmouths, they like, if you can get them to kind of come up, it helps to trigger them and commit to biting.
You were using a 3/8. Would you get on the backside of those rocks and just spot lock on it, or would you just
you could drift? Way too much current, like
way too much.
Yeah, if you would never hit the bottom. And it didn't look like there was that much current, but like when you actually got fishing in there, like you would never hit the bottom. And so you just had to drift, like just kind of like fishing at the St. Lawrence River.
So what kind of jig head are we talking, Gussy? Were you using more of like a pill shaped or a swim bait?
Here we go. Show and tell.
It is it's called a smeltonator jig, and a friend of mine here at home makes it, but you can see it's kind of a minnow head design. And this is, I probably caught 30 or 40 fish on this one, maybe more over the weekend. Like that's actually one of my baits. And dab of glue, and that's like the Elastec stuff. So you can, you can catch as many fish as you want on them. And
Is it a light wire or medium wire?
It's a medium. That's a Gammy 604. So a fairly strong hook. And one of the most important things, and if you were watching, like I was constantly messing around with the bait, and can you see how my knot is like vertical right there?
Mm-hmm.
That was important to like keep the the bait horizontal like that in the water.
Right.
So if you caught a fish, you check set or something, like the knot might end up like that. And then when you drop it down, it's going to be sitting like that in the water. No good. You want it, so that's one thing with this technique. You want to be able to have that knot going straight off. And then I think the buoyancy of this Elastec is it helps promote like the bait sort of being horizontal in the water. Like back in the day, we used to use Zoom flukes, we used power minnows, any variety of soft jerk baits. But like anymore, I know my buddies around here that fish a lot, and myself, I mean, we're all using the Z-Man jerk shads now.
You ever have success largemouth fishing doing this? Like if you're marking largemouth in deep water?
The only place I've caught largemouths with this is at Lake Travis. We had an FLW Derby there in 17, and I had the second day of the tournament, I had one of the biggest bags, and I caught them off a dock cable in like 35, 40 feet of water with one of these dropping down on them. It was pretty cool. But other than that, I mean, that was the only like one day where I've kind of had any luck with it other than this tournament.
What kind of knot are you using to promote that horizontal pitch on the bait?
Honestly, I'm like the worst knot guy ever. That is a trilene knot right there. And I'll usually tie that or a Palomar. I learned how to tie an FG knot a couple years ago, so that was a life changer. And I know there's like the knot with 3 tag ends that everyone's sort of tying now to tie their baits on. I got to learn how to do that one, but yeah, I mean,
I don't tie it either.
Yeah. Hey, that's 8-pound test, and I was like, I boat flipped a lot of the fish. I mean, it's I know when it pulls together, fine and whatever, but
yeah.
I noticed that. That's why I was going to ask you. That's why I was asking you about the gauge of your hook, because you seem to kind of manhandle them a little bit. Was your drag locked down for those suckers?
No, I mean it would move when I set the hook. Like I didn't have it locked down, but like I'm not like when I hook a smallmouth or any fish, like I'm not one of those guys that's gonna sit there and like and chase it around the boat. I mean, like the longest fight I had was probably like 15 seconds, 20 seconds maybe. And
it wasn't very long.
No, you reel them up.
You didn't compare to northern fish.
Well, the water was really cold. Like it was 45, 46 degrees. So that, like I had a couple, I remember the second day I had a few, and I mentioned like these things are fighting way harder today. Like, but for the most part, they were pretty docile and not, I mean, they didn't, they'd sort of half-ass jump and
except for the one on the last day that you like Mickey Mantle gloved it like 4 times off the side.
Yeah.
Flip-flopping.
That thing was pretty skinny, and it just but
did you lose any? Did you have any mishaps other than that one?
The first day, I caught 3 on my first sort of like little zone that I fished, and then I had another dot. So I went up to that and I dropped down and I caught a big one, fixed my bait, and I'd spot, so the only, I'd spot lock when I hooked one, I'd hit spot lock just so that I could like finish my drift off. Cause these were pretty small little areas that I was drifting over. And I would do that. But like I caught one, fixed my bait, dropped down, set the hook on another one. I was like, oh, this is a good one. And I got that halfway up and lost it. Didn't see it. Fixed my bait, dropped down, caught another big one. So it wasn't a big deal, but that was the only one I lost the whole tournament.
It was amazing because they would get up to the surface, and I was impressed with the hook that you were using. I'm like, man, those fish are staying pinned because they're messing around on the surface.
Like Z-Man makes, once I'm going to show you a jig here. So like Z-Man is a good sponsor. Northland Tackle's a good sponsor, and they make like some good jigs like designed for that technique, and they're fine. But like for a tournament situation, I want the Gamakatsu hook, and that 604. I mean, that's one that I've used forever. Like this one, I caught a lot of fish on, so it's kind of wore the finish off a bit. And but like that's a pretty strong hook that you're not going to jack it real easy.
Right. Well, you nailed most of them. And did you even make a cast for smallies this week, GDP?
No, never tried at all.
No kidding.
Yep. I caught one smallmouth during a tournament, but it was like maybe 10 inches. That's it.
Right.
Yep.
Do you think that Gussy, do you think there was other areas like this canal, this, seemed to be an obvious concentration point, but did you look around the lakes for like, secondary points for smallies?
I looked in that, because I was right at the entrance to Tellico. So I did go out into the lake and look around a bit, but I just never, it's time consuming a little bit to find those. And I literally found these fish like late Wednesday, and I never really had a lot of time. And then the first morning I caught them really good. But the problem was, I was in a high profile sort of area. So like there's a big boat ramp there. Davey Height was on me. Zaldane was fishing there. So like there was a lot of boats around watching everything. And within an hour, there's like 20 boats floating around. And then a couple of our guys come driving by, and it's like, I got to get out of here because this is just like, it's just, I'm attracting too much attention right now. It's, I don't want to ruin this. So I left because I would have loved to have like expanded on everything the first day. And I think that day it was sunny and calm. Like it would have been, they were biting really good that day. And, I wish I could have spent a little more time kind of exploring it, but I went and largemouth fished for like 6 hours after I had my fish, and I caught 1 2-pounder, and that just solidified like under no circumstance the rest of this tournament am I leaving that canal.
Yeah, I would have been torn, like with all those people watching. I might have been afraid to leave. I'd almost stayed in the area just for defense,
The other, so yeah, like that was a problem. I missed seeing this and mentioning it on stage, but like the best locals I've ever seen, because they didn't bother me. They didn't fish. They were out. There was a few guys out there every day watching, and they were really cool. Like if we were a couple other lakes down the river, it wouldn't have been the same scenario. And
round of applause for the locals.
Yeah, for sure. Top notch.
Awesome.
And then like the first day, like Zaldane was fishing in there too, and like super good fisherman, really good smallmouth guy, and like he watched me catch a bunch. Like he kind of got out there and was doing it too, and for whatever reason, whether I don't know, like he probably wasn't prepared with the bright baits. Maybe I don't know. I haven't got to talk to him yet about it, but he didn't catch them. But like all day it bugged me. Like I'm like, oh, Zaldane's gonna have a big bag out of there too. And now like we're both gonna be kind of plucking, we're both gonna be fishing it the rest of the weekend. And he went back the second day, and he told me in the morning, like, I'm gonna go back to the area. I won't be in your way. I won't bother you. And he didn't. Like he's really good like that. I've never heard of anybody.
That's awesome.
So props to him. And I felt bad. I mean, he had a tough tournament, and I mean, he was like this, like really close to,
winning fish.
It's amazing. It's amazing how close you can be to the winning fish and not get them. Riz, I know we got a lot of, Bash U subscribers on the IM board. I know they have some questions for Gussy. What do we got?
For sure. So the first one that we're going to go with is going to get a $25 Gills Gear gift card for this question. And the reason I'm picking this person for the Gills Gear gift card is because I love their screen name. So the seat-eating squirrel would like to know, did you have any certain rotation of baits that you threw with these fish, size, color, weight, or did you use the same bait and setup for the entire tournament?
Honestly, I only had 4 spinning rods with me on this trip, just because I mean, we went to Florida, and then I wasn't really like, you always carry a few spinning rods with you, but like it wasn't, I didn't go there expecting to smallmouth fish and fish the way that I did. So I had these 3 of these baits on. Well, it started out, I had 2 of these, a Ned rig and a drop shot. And it was weird because like the fish were really glued to the bottom, and like I've never been anywhere smallmouth fishing where they won't eat a Ned rig, and these things would not, I didn't try it a ton, but like I tried it enough, and I put it in front of fish for sure, and they just wouldn't eat it. I caught drum on it, but no bass. And then the drop shot, I never ended up pulling it out of the box. I mean, I think you could have caught some on a drop shot for sure. This jig was just so efficient because I could, get it down there quick, get it in position quick, glue that bait on. So I never had to fix the bait. I mean, it just, you know, like I literally caught like 30 or 40 on this one. And it evolved into 3 of these 4-inch jerk shads tied on. And I was using this bad shad. That was the color I used the most. And then I also had a smelt one and a shiner color, just so I'd switch up the colors every once in a while. And I'm not sure that it made a difference. They all kind of caught fish, but yeah, that was it. I didn't mess around with too many baits, just because, you know, same deal. Like I wish I would have found it more earlier in practice, and I probably would have, but everything worked out.
Now settle something for me. I know it might not even be a difference, but Z-Man makes a jerk shads and a streaks.
Yeah.
What's the difference? Because they make a streaks and a 3.75. Yeah, that's what I had pegged you on. That's what I thought you were throwing the whole time.
And I've used that. That's a good bait. I've actually got them here. Hang on, I'll show you.
I mean, I look at them on Tackle Warehouse, and they're like the same thing, except they have different size varieties. Sorry for really geeking out here, but I want to know if there's like a.
I
gotta see it.
Good.
God,
the other
so Canadian.
This garage is dope. Yeah.
Okay, so there we go. So the streaks are just a little bit different. I don't know. I mean, it's not even really that much. The 5-inch streaks is a little different shape. Hang on, I'll show you here.
Take your time.
So it's just got like a little bit more of a squared. That's the streaks. That's a 5-inch streaks. The jerk shad is actually it's actually called the scented jerk shad, and you can see, I think it's like that Procure stuff they use on these, yeah, they like them, but that's the shiner color. It's kind of like an Arkansas shiner color, but yeah, that's the 5-inch, but I was using the 4-inch one. The 5-inch, I rigged a couple up, and I just never tied them on. Might have caught bigger ones if I put that bigger bait down there, because they were puking up some big shad.
They were big,
but it was just like, you know what it's like when something's working. I'm not, go get the job done.
Yeah, the scent was. How big a factor do you think that scent played?
Great
question. It might have. I mean, I had some that were, really followed the bait around and stayed on it a little bit. I mean. I'm not a real big scent guy, but it could have helped, no doubt.
No question. Well, Riz, let me send it back to you, because I want to dive in a little bit on how you found these fish and Mega 360 and side imaging and all that stuff. So, but let's hit another IM question. Then we're going to dive into the sonar.
Jay Water actually wants to know the same thing, Pete. He says, Gussy, it seemed like you were on a pretty small area fishing. Did you find these fish by graphing, and did you use any map study before the tournament to help find these fish, like Navionics or Humminbird Lake Master?
So Lake Master's got phenomenal map of the lake, and like Greg will agree with me here. A lot of our buddies that are sponsored by other companies, they all have a Humminbird in their boat, whether it's on the floor or on the console. They have it so they can use the Lake Master stuff, no doubt. There was no this was literally, I found this at the last minute right before I put my boat on the trailer the last day of practice. And how it ended up happening, I idled out of that boat ramp, and if you idled through that canal, I mean, there was just like really sexy looking rock everywhere. And whenever I'm like idling, not on pad, my unit is always on side imaging, and it's just, you find so many little oddball things that might hold a fish or two, and I constantly, have it on there, and that was kind of how I saw the rock. And then once I, kind of had an eye for what to look for, then it was, I paid a lot more attention to it. And then while I was fishing, doing these drifts, I had that 360 rolling constantly. And if I could see where the rocks were coming up in front of me, and if I had to go a little to the right or a little to the left to like get a direct hit on on getting over top of them, then that's where that really helped and that shined. But like the Mega 360, for anyone that like likes to fish offshore, it's so important. I mean, it's just deadly for showing you rock and any hard stuff that's on the bottom. And it really helped me like dial in these spots. Cause like at first, the first day I thought a lot of these fish were just kind of random in the canal. Like, you know, like, I don't know, if you're at the St. Lawrence River, Greg, like a lot of those fish are just kind of random. If you're, you know, the areas aren't necessarily random, but the bites are. And that's what I thought this was like. But as the tournament evolved, it was like, if I had 2 or 3 dots, like if I hit them perfect, it was like 100% every day every time I would get a fish off them. But like with the wind and the different current, like it wasn't, sometimes I'd have to try it 3 or 4 times to like get a hit on the dot. And I mean, if you're watching, like I'd do a 2-minute drift, fire the big motor up, go back up, do it again, go back up, do it again. And it was, you know, the 360 definitely helped with hitting on that.
So Gussy, do you think this was more of a funneling area, or do you think it was like more of a wintering hole for these smallmouth?
At the weigh-in on the last day, I had a couple of the guys that were watching me came up and just said, "Hey, good job." And he goes, they said that's a wintering spot that not that many people knew about. And I was like, "Oh, sorry, boys." But you know, but no, they said that is a wintering zone. It's sort of locally, it's known as for that.
Yeah,
so.
It's crazy how much you learn. Like for myself, watching you do this, like I would think to myself, man, that's not a wintering hole. It's just way too much current. But I think in this event, the current was way more than normal. Correct? Because all the rain coming, I think they were pulling water out.
Yep.
You know. So.
And I think, like, I agree. Like, I would not. I don't know. The only reason I stopped and fished in there was so the 3 largemouths I caught in practice where there's a cove on the Loudon side.
I saw it.
And there's a rock out in front of it.
Yeah.
I caught all 3 of the keepers in that cove. So I'm like, launched the last day of practice. Like, I got to try and find that cove's going to be my zone. I got to try and like develop something else around there. And I never ended up fishing that cove the whole tournament. Like, it was just kind of weird the way it worked out. But when I idled through there, you'd see all the, like, this nice rock. And then the day before the tournament and the first day of the tournament, when it was really bright, sunny, there was actually a lot of bait in there. And I didn't see the bait as much like over the weekend, and whether the clouds just didn't have, you know, they were deeper or whatever. But so just seeing that, it just sort of was all the right ingredients. But like, if I was at home and the water was 45 degrees, like I would go as far away from any current as I could to like start looking for wintering deep water smallmouths. And, you know, just, again, that's just their river fish, I guess. So they're used to it a little bit more. And I guess, again, like southern smallmouths, just not the same as northern smallmouths.
Yeah.
Yep. That's true. And were you able to, like, you talked about random bites, but was there anything, were the bites coming in the hardest part of the current and the slower part of the current? Was there anything you were able to figure out that way?
It was no, where I got the bites, it was like in some of the hardest stuff. Cause there, you know, if I went out into Tellico where it started to widen out, like there was a lot of structure there, and I'm sure there was, you know, some more juice spots, but I just never could find them. And then I liked that the current moved me. Like, it allowed me to kind of cover some water and keep the bait under the boat. Like, once I got out of that current, then I'm having to move around with the trolling motor, but I can't keep my bait right under it while I move. You know what I mean? Like, if you tried moving around, your bait's getting lost. And so that part of it, I was just so dialed in on the current thing that once I got out of that, it was just kind of driving me nuts because I couldn't cover the amount of water that I wanted to. And then the fact that I couldn't see them in that current, like idling, I just didn't have a ton of confidence. Like, are they that tight to the bottom and the rocks like everywhere else? And it was weird. Like I say that, and it sort of is. It sounds like it, you know, like someone that has a Garmin or a Lowrance might be like, oh, I would have saw them on my unit, but it wasn't that. It was like my graph is dialed on the console, like best one I've ever had. And that's just the way the fish were set up. They were just hiding in these holes and so.
Yeah, tough to see. Well, I was worried because on the last day of the tournament, you had that fog delay. Man, oh man, we're like, we all watched you do your damage in the first hour, and they were commenting that the current was significantly less on day 4. And I'm like,
well,
oh, man.
The weird thing was it was less everywhere else, but it must have just been higher water in Tellico because it was ripping out of Tellico. Like the last day, the current was ripping where I was fishing. But I was pretty calm like the whole tournament. I didn't, I was having fun. It wasn't stressful. And then the last morning when like right at 7, like right at blast off, it was kind of like borderline. Like we probably could have took off, and then like we're like, we're gonna hold off a few minutes here, and then it just like socked right in, and then I'm like, oh man. Fighter called me and he's like, dude, it's the best thing that can happen to you because these guys are gonna need a big bag to catch you. And I'm like, well, I'm kind of like, if I get there right now, like I'm gonna finish it off. Like if I get my limit, it's over probably, right? And so we sat around for an hour and a half, and then we got to go. And luckily, I caught 2 good ones, like my first 2 drifts, and then once I knew like the fish were still there, I can grind this out and finish it off. But there was a lot of like 17 inchers, like nice ones that. So that was kind of scary because you could go catch like 30 of them and not get a keeper potentially, right? But luckily there was enough long, skinny ones to fill that live well up.
Wow.
But I caught some like 17 and a half, 17 and 3, like really close to being keepers that were 3-pounders, like bigger than a lot of the fish I weighed in, but they just, yeah.
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking for us watching you, but you calmed right down after you caught those first 2.
Yeah, for sure.
Gus, I got a question here on the message board that I want to work in because it kind of folds right in hand with you're peeling through these 17-inch fish, and it's like, do I stay or do I go? And Mike L wants to know, how do you formulate your strategy for a tournament, and when do you know if it's time to abandon something and try something different?
Well, like, I think Greg would agree too here. Like we're always going, like, I'm not a spot sitter. And like in those events, you can't, but like at this event, the fishing was so tough that I had no options. Like if I would have left and went largemouth fishing, like after day 1, I spent 3 days of practice and 6 hours on day 1 of the tournament, like trying to figure out how to like have some kind of plan to catch a pattern or something to catch largemouths, and I didn't. I just couldn't. I never figured it out. I tried docks and bluffs and the backs of pockets, current breaks on the main river, bars on the main river. I tried to sample like as many different things as I could, and it was just random, and I couldn't catch them. So, so in this situation, I knew there was, every day there was 5 bass in that canal for me to catch, and that was, it turned into like a camp out deal. And normally though, that's not my style. Like, you're kind of always on the move, looking for biters and hunt down biters. Like that's generally how we fish most of the time.
Great question. By the way, the last IM question of, what was it? The squirrels. I didn't like that name. The eating squirrels. I'm still a little mad at that, but I didn't get to comment on it. But I was watching you idle. They did great shots showing your side imaging, seeing the boulders. That it was crystal clear. Amazing, rock outcroppings. They almost look like jetties jutting out into the current.
Yeah, and a lot of it was like, it was a canal, so a lot of it was man-made. I wish that, same deal. Like I just found it so late that I never, I wish I could have went back after the tournament and put my Aqua down there just to see like what was there and actually how the fish were setting up, how many fish were actually there, because it would have been pretty neat. If somebody can go out there and do that and check it out, let me know.
Oh, I'm sure they've done that. I'm sure every smallmouth in that entire causeway has been caught 3 times by now. But everybody from Tennessee's out moping right now. But I'm glad you brought that point up. We would like to welcome Aqua to the Bash University family. We've just huge announcement. They partnered with us, and we're really excited to work with them and dive into the underwater video world. And that would have been amazing to be able to see the rocks and the fish that you were catching there.
Yeah, they're like, I've used an Aqua forever, and I mean, it goes everywhere with me. A big part of my pre-fishing, and if you got like, this is what I always like tell people if they're sort of hesitant or will I actually use this thing? Like, if you fish with kids at all, it's like the greatest thing ever. Like, if they're getting bored, you can put that thing down for them and they'll be good for like a couple more hours. And like, you can just do your thing and go fish, and they'll be like, oh, there's a fish. And then you're running back there to like see what it is. And no, they're great for, species identification. Like, say you mark a bunch of fish and you maybe they don't want to bite what you're dropping on them. You put a camera down and you think they're smallmouths, maybe they're drum, maybe they're walleyes, vice versa. Maybe they're a bunch of bass that you just got to figure out how to catch. And that's all, that's a big part of what I'm using it for. And then in a river situation where there's current, like, that's where they really, really shine, because you're able to cover a lot of water. Like the St. Lawrence River, it's like the most mandatory piece of equipment. It gets way better than sonar is, to be honest with you, at that place.
We were just talking about this, Gussy. So last year, me and Brian were talking last year on the St. Lawrence, because we were talking about Aquaview. I said I saw Gussy in an area, and I saw Gussy driving around, idling around with his Aquaview down, and then I'd see you get up and fish. So I'm guessing that's kind of your game plan. You drive around for him and you fish for him.
Like the year before, I kind of figured that out. Like, I didn't think of it before I got there, and it was like same deal. Like last day of practice, I just dropped it down, and the water's so clear there, and what happens is when the current moves you really fast, so you can drop that camera down and it stays under the boat, and you can just cover a pile of ground. And that's how I practice there now, is I put that thing down and I can just go drift like a most random, nothing looking section of river. And all of a sudden, there's a pack, a bunch of boulders, and there's fish. And like, if I just see a bass or two, I don't think much of it. But when you start seeing like 5 or 6 or 10 on the screen at a time, that you put a dot, and if you go drift back over them, it's like 100% you'll catch one.
Wow.
And anyone that hasn't used it there, like anyone that has it and used it there, they're probably like pissed at me for like telling you.
I was gonna say, it's really one thing not talking about too much.
No, it's a big deal. Like, it makes life easy. And for anyone that's like going to fish there this year, and if you've never fished there before, like 100%, it's worth getting one. And like Clint Davis is a buddy of mine, and the first day of practice last year, he pulled up to me, and I have one set up on the console of my boat, and it's kind of nice because it's like a little more inconspicuous. And he pulled up to me, and I was using it, and he's like, "Do you see fish on that?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, dude. Like, here, look at this." And like, we drifted for 50 yards, and he's like, "Oh my God." And he went online and like ordered one that night. And I think it showed up like by the time the tournament started, but he'll have one for this year when we go back.
Wow.
I imagine it could be, it's a really useful tool in interpreting what your sonar is telling you.
Yeah. It's just like, if you fish competitively and especially if you like to fish deeper water and clearer water, I mean, it's so awesome to have in the boat for just dropping down, or brush piles. Like they don't work awesome in muddy water, dirty water. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they're amazing in those situations, but like, if you fish anywhere with relatively clear water, they're phenomenal. And like Lake Eufaula last year, like that's sort of semi-clear. But it's clear enough. Like I could go on brush piles in 20 feet of water, drop it down, and like, oh yeah, there's 4 or 5 bass on that brush pile. And then you don't have to cast at it and burn a fish. And you can kind of like, see what is it, a snaggy brush pile? Is it kind of like, the right side of it's a little more, easier to get a bait into, like just lots of those little things. You can actually put the camera on like a push pull and, look around under docks with it, lay downs. Like there's a lot of different ways you can use it that you don't.
That is sneaky.
You're inspiring the whole cast.
Yeah. So let's define relatively clear water for our viewers.
Yeah.
Myself included.
Well,
what
I mean,
because you mentioned Eufaula. Okay. So
yeah.
I'm down here in Georgia too. And I'm thinking my gears are turning and I want to know, okay, what depth of water clarity can you actually use this in?
Like at the St. Lawrence River, we're talking gin clear. You could see 30 or 40 feet ahead of you when you got it down there in 30 feet of water. I mean, it's incredible. Like it's so unbelievable there. At Eufaula, I mean, I dropped it down in 20, 22, 24 feet and I don't know that you could, like, I wouldn't say as you approach a brush pile, you can see the whole thing in that deep of water necessarily. But like, as you get close to it, I mean, the bass aren't going to be like spooky or, I mean, you can get up close to them, and a place like that, it works pretty good still for that.
But you're using it to identify fish, even maybe identify size. Like
absolutely, 100%.
So you can say, oh, this group of smallmouth is bigger than those group of smallmouth over there.
And there is some like a little bit of a learning curve there. Because you could, like, if you go to the St. Lawrence River, you could drop it down and if you get like really close to a 2-pounder, it might look like a giant, but you can tell, like, if you use it a bunch, you just kind of get a perspective of the shape of their fins or just the shape of the fish. And then you like, oh, that's a Kong right there. And, you just get, you can kind of, it takes a little practice on judging the size. Cause if they're, they're 10 feet away from the camera, or they're 2 feet away, they're going to look a little different, but you can tell by the shape of their fins and just like their proportions of their body.
Yeah. How many models are there, Gussy? Like how many different cameras are they making? And what do you?
So there's like the high end ones. I use the 7 HD Pro, and they have a 10-inch screen as well. The 7's a pretty big screen. That's what I have, just to kind of keep it reasonable on the, it's easy to store and pack up. They have a sort of a mid-range model like the 715. And those are, for the average person that just wants to have one in their boat for dropping down quick on brush or IDing fish, that's probably a good one to get. And then they also have the little micro cameras. And I got one here in my boat. Just hang on one sec. And the micro one's really good because it's easy to store. And it doesn't really take up any room. And you can actually record stuff with it. Here it is.
That's going to be fun.
So this is the micro one. So you've got a spool on the back. You can kind of see that. That's the camera right there. And one thing I will do with these is this was just in a box in the boat. And I think we're going to have, Aquaview is going to get some heavier weights for these little guys, but I'll switch the weight out on that so it's heavier, so we'll get down there quicker, stay under the boat a little better. But that's it. That's the micro one's just got a tiny camera. And then you
come a long way.
Yeah, you turn it on, and I don't know,
self-contained.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Greg, we could use these at the canal.
Yeah,
yeah, like I wish I could have like went and used it there because it would have been pretty cool. But these little micro ones, they have a record button right on them, and like if you want to record stuff for for social media or just to have like
take to the club.
Yeah, that's it. And like you just wind it up and.
Man, that's awesome. So this is HD, high definition.
Yep.
Color. I mean, you can tell which which smallmouth's blacker and lighter. I mean, that's crazy.
Wow.
If you if people want to go look, like I have a few shots from last summer on my Instagram, like a couple pictures and maybe a video or two. Like I got more stuff I should probably post on there, but like, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's fun. And like anywhere, if you fish in the Northeast at all, like any of that clear water, it's sick. Like the year before I had a good tournament at Cayuga, and I'm sure you guys have all fished that place, but like any kind of like what I found was like any piece of cover out in, between 20 and 30 feet of water, like from a stump to one log, it didn't even have to have a branch on it, like just something laying on the bottom and a little rock, it would have a fish on it. And by the last day of practice, instead of like casting on it, because it might just be one or two fish, I would just go and drop my I'd side image, find the stuff, dot it, and then I just drive over, drop the camera down, float over it. It's got clear water too, and like, oh yeah, 3-4 pound smallmouths on that, or 3-4 pound largemouths on that. And I went back the next morning in the tournament and like I cracked a fish off every one of these things that I found. So it really helped me out a lot there.
That's cool.
Oh, I bet.
It's amazing. You caught 80 pounds that week and didn't win that tournament.
Well, I should have. So that was like, I had a 5-pound lead going into the last day in that one. And so the same deal here. Like I had a 7 or 8 pound lead, like a good lead, but like I still, if I zero, I'm not winning. Like I got to catch some fish still. And so once I caught a couple, it took I knew it was going to be a good outcome.
Well, it was a great outcome. Have you learned anything about fish? Like, can you tell these guys are catchable? These guys are not catchable.
Not necessarily like just by looking at them, but like one thing I will say is so when the AquaView came out around like 97 or 98, like the first version of it, and they were pretty primitive back then. And Jim Linder and the late Ted Capra, I don't know if you ever met Ted, Pete, but Minnesota Hall of Fame bass fisherman.
Yes.
They won the Kenora Bass International. It's a big tournament we have on Lake of the Woods. And then that was right about the time AquaView came out, and they won the tournament. And they said, we found all our fish with the AquaView. Like, I think, they were going to be sponsored. Oh, my sister's calling me here. Call her back. Sorry, guys.
Everybody's checking their phones. Who's got their phone?
I know.
And they said, yeah, we won this tournament because of AquaView. So like, it's weird. All the like little local tournaments that we have here, AquaViews are banned. Like you can't use a camera in the tournament. And it's a really archaic, dumb rule because you can't really like fish and use the camera at the same time. So like no one would ever use one in a tournament situation necessarily. But one thing you do got to watch is like, you could go drop these things down off like almost any point, or piece of structure, in a lake that has a lot of bass and see fish, but they might not be necessarily catchable. And that's where you got to kind of, it could hurt you a little bit in a sense that there's a bunch of big smallmouths under me right now. I'm just going to go through every bait in my boat and try and figure out how to catch them, but they just might not be biters. They might not be catchable fish. So you just kind of got to like for me, when I get in that situation, if I'm on top of smallmouth sort of down deep, and especially like up north where the fishing's pretty good, if they don't bite like the first thing I drop down, I might try a second bait. And if they don't bite it, like I just pretend I didn't even see them, like just keep going. I might go back 2 hours later and come at them from a different angle, try a different bait or try them the next day, but I'm not going to sit there. And if they deny you once, they're not biting probably. More than likely.
They don't good life advice right there.
I was gonna say, they don't deserve you,
right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. That is good advice, Riz. Not sure we're talking about fishing at the moment, but it's good advice.
Hey Gus, I got a guy on YouTube wants to know where he can get the smeltnators.
So a friend of mine makes them here in Kenora, Lake of the Woods Sports Headquarters. They got a good website, and he literally got, I think they sold out of them. So he's got a whole pile getting made, and they'll in a couple of weeks, if few weeks they'll have them restocked again. But yeah, they're a really nice jig. They're really good for like little swim baits and Kitex, and like, I mean, I don't know if these guys want me to say, but like I've got tons of them for Cody Meyer, for Seth, for Brandon McMillan. I mean, all my buddies get me to get these jigs for them. Carl Jochimson. So they're good jigs. A lot of guys are using them.
Do you ever super glue your knot?
Sells them also in Minnesota.
Gus, do you ever put a little dab of super glue on the knot to keep it vertical?
That's a really good idea. No, I don't. I've never done that, but I don't know why I never thought of that.
I just thought of it now, sitting here.
Yeah.
Good job, Ryan.
You should be fishing the
We'll
elite
have another
series.
shot. Hold on.
Think about shit like that.
Go about your business and have a drink. My work's done.
Nice input, BTC. When you drift with this camera, do you use your trolling motor? Can you idle your outboard and still?
I have mine just set up at the console, so and that's where it's so nice in a place like the St. Lawrence or any kind of river, because you just naturally move and the camera stays under the boat. In a lake situation, you can't move around that fast because the camera will end up you're dragging it a little bit more. If that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you get out and use it, you'll see what I mean. But in a lake situation, that's where, you're going to drop it down on like stuff you're seeing on your graph, or you often have, like, say, your favorite hump or your favorite point there, I always catch them on the right side of it or the north side of it, and that's where you can go drop that camera down, and sure enough there's probably a big boulder there, or a patch of sand, or a little patch of grass. Like there'll be something that you never knew was there, and you drop that thing down and it reveals why the fish are always on that side of the structure.
Wow, that's tremendous. Riz, are there any IM questions about AquaView or anything sonar related? Anything?
You know what, Pete? That's a really good point. I haven't been looking for AquaView questions. I've been looking for technique questions. So how about I hit one of those real quick, and then I'll bring it back with an AquaView question?
Bring it.
All right.
What do you
got? Jay Water wants to know, when do you decide to mop or mope over drop shotting, Ned rigging, et cetera, et cetera? Like what's the first thing when you see fish that says, all right, I'm going to catch these tight line and I'm open?
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, it like up at home, for whatever reason, that moping and dropping down on them technique just like kicks the crap out of drop shotting all the time. We go to the Great Lakes, drop shotting is going to be a better deal. And usually like a Ned rig is just like always 100% always tied on a rod. And, usually you can, catch a few fish on it. But for me, it's just, experiment and see what the fish kind of want. But I have a lot of confidence in that, hanging this minnow bait on top of them. And that's just, for me, it's just been a fish catcher. And like I use this thing for walleyes, use it ice fishing for lake trout. I mean, it's just like any fish that eats minnows is, that's just like a pretty natural piece of food. So
Is that a distinction you can make, that, all right, bait oriented fish, we're moping, goby oriented fish, we're Ned rigging or doing something else?
Yeah, probably 100%. Cause like I haven't, like, that's one of the, like, I've never really done that well with this technique and this kind of bait, like necessarily on the Great Lakes. I think at like a place like Lake St. Clair, there's some opportunity where these would work pretty good, but it's just,
well, they'll drop shot that bait out there, right?
Yeah. That's the last few years, that's kind of been like the hot.
Oh yeah.
Especially for catching bigger fish too.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Riz, can I throw it back to you?
Yeah. So Howie Range wants to know, when you're drifting, how do you keep the AquaView from spinning around as you drift?
Yeah, so I always take it for granted. I got one right here. So this
by
is
the way, Howie Range, you just won yourself a Gills Gear $25 gift card.
This is, So the cameras come in like a little soft bag like this, so you can just kind of like keep them zipped up all the time. And this one's kind of open, but the cameras come with, cameras don't come with this fin, but this is just an accessory you can get. It's just a trolling fin, and that this is like the camera for the HD model. It's a lot bigger than that micro one, and but these fins they're cheap, but get that, and it comes with a little bit more weight you can put on the bottom of the camera as well, and that keeps it, when you're moving, it just keeps it from spinning. So no.
How did the fish react to the camera? Do they get out of the way? Do they just sit tight?
No, smallmouths love it. Like they're attracted to it.
No kidding.
Walleyes are scared of it. Pike are scared of it. Bass are like I've had them. I've had them at the St. Lawrence, dude. Like Fighter had the best. This is like what we were talking about this the other day, but he said the very first time he used one there, he thought he found like the biggest school ever that anyone's ever found of smallmouths, but he was drifting with it, and they'll actually swim with the camera. So like you're going along and they'll be in front of you and they'll swim off the screen and then they come back in again. This is what they do. Like you're going along at a mile an hour and they're just like constantly doing this. But he said he thought he just was like there was just all different fish, and he's seeing like, I just saw 100 fish on that drift, like they're everywhere, but it was just like 4 or 5 of them, and they just all
That sounds about right.
Yeah, they're just like, they're very inquisitive, and they like for the most part are kind of attracted to it. So you see them.
Wow, that's really cool. Riz, are there any other
I got one.
questions?
Gus, when do you know when to mop the deck and swab the deck? Mope the deck.
Is that a pirate question?
Speaking of moping, there's probably a lot of people over there on Facebook moping around because they're not signed up for Bash U TV. Well, it's okay. We can hook you up. Use the code BULive30. Get unlimited access to over 800 of the best bass fishing instructional videos on the internet. That gets you pro member benefits for the program. And you can ask questions for tonight during the show. Get your question through to Gussy, and we'll send you a prize if we use your question on the show. So, also, Facebook, if you're over there, like and share the feed. We'll enter you in for a chance to win an awesome prize from TH Marine. So, like and share tonight's feed. Get entered in for a chance to win.
Awesome.
Peter.
I have a question. Did I see you fizz your smallmouth in this tournament?
Yeah, I fizzed a lot of them. They were 22, 24 feet of water. And the first day or the second day, my camera guy, I caught a few pretty quick, and I had 2 or 3 in the live well, and I caught another one. And the camera guy's like looking down. I opened the live well, and they're all like sideways. And I'm like, well, shut that up. But they were fine. I just moved over. I learned how to fizz them a couple years ago. Like we got taught how to do it. And it like makes their life way better when you fizz them. It's really easy to do. And I fizzed them, and then they're all good after that. So
that's Barb Elliott, right?
Yeah.
That teaches those classes on fizzing.
And like honestly, man, my perception of it was like, there's no way like sticking a needle in them is good. What if you miss the right spot? And what I learned was they have no other really important organs around their air bladder, like on their side. All their important stuff's like up by their gills. And so you can't really hurt them.
They're just extra organs.
Yeah. So no, it really saves them and I'm sure makes their life a lot better if you.
I think it's a must. I really do. Definitely learn it, guys. I mean, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Can you take us through it like a quick tutorial verbally? Like how do you measure off the dorsal fin? And
you just lay their pectoral fin down flat, and you go off the top of it, 1 inch behind it and go in right there, right, Greg?
Yeah, I just count 3 scales usually. That's just what I do. You can on a smallmouth, you can see it very easily where basically the giant bubble is. Like what Gussy was saying, it's about 1 inch back.
Yeah,
you can't miss it.
But like, yeah, you can go online and see how to do it. Yeah. And I mean, like, and the thing that sort of sucks is like, you can catch those fish that are deep, and if you fish tournaments anywhere in the fall, like up north, you've had this happen. You can put them in your live well all day and they don't die. They stay alive, but they're on their side and they're kicking, and like you can tell they're not doing good. But they don't necessarily die in your live well, especially in that colder water. But you're, so you go weigh them in, the tournament people take care of them, and it's not your problem anymore. But the reality is, if they sit on their side all day like that, then that pressure builds, and they're getting internal damage. Their organs are getting damaged, and they're probably going to die, 2 or 3 days later. And that's what I've sort of been told with these guys, where if you fizz them, get rid of that pressure, they're probably going to be fine. And I mean, they've done it. They've put them in like big tanks out in the river up at the St. Lawrence, and these things, they fizz them, and these things are 100%.
Awesome.
That's good.
Yeah, I want to comment about, I saw you fishing out of the Lund, and I think it's so cool. We haven't seen a Lund. I don't think a Lund has ever been out on the elites or the top level tour. So it's really cool. John Cox is using Crestline. There's a lot of aluminum boats.
There's Gussy's is different. His flies, dude. Like, it's hard for me to catch his boat. Seriously.
I'm running like in the low 60s, but like you can see, like this thing has a ton of storage, and I mean, it's basically a bass boat. And I haven't really unpacked since I got home, but like I can, I got a pile of rods in there. I mean, it's kind of dark, probably hard to see, but yeah, like tons of storage, big deck. Like I got more storage than anybody.
That looks like my garage in that compartment.
He's not lying.
I'd probably go a little faster actually if I took some of that stuff out.
And there's that blue trophy.
Yeah, it's a beauty.
That's right.
Yeah. They're a lot heavier than they look. Yeah.
I got to ask a question about the boat, because we, last time I fished Ontario, they let us go in 3 to 4 meter waves, and we went out into the lake, and
what just happened?
It's huge. I gotta know how does a boat like that perform? I know it's probably better in the light chop, but in those giant swells, that's got to be tough.
So if it's rough, like even on a place like St. Clair, like I can't necessarily go any faster than the glass boats, but and I just get this from a lot of the marshals and camera guys. You're not like doing this, like you're not just boom, boom, boom. It's just not as hard of a hitter. But if you try and like if I just go and try and start like passing guys, then you're just going to break everything. You just everything will get wrecked.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. That will test your equipment no matter what it is.
St. Clair is the worst place. Like it's because if it's calm, if it's flat calm, it's almost worse because they'll just be like gigantic. Yeah, it's like then you hit rogue ones, but I've like, yeah, that's the worst place I've ever been for just like hard on equipment.
I gotta ask this question. The guys are pirating Humminbird. They're mounting them on the floor. That's awesome. What's going on? How are they mounting them? What do they put them on a board and just? Are they permanently mounted?
I'm not gonna like throw anyone under the bus, but like I've seen one of my guys. He's a West Coast guy. One of my buddies. He actually there's one boat brand that had like a pedestal spot in the floor in the console, and he would actually he mounted his on a pedestal piece so he could just so he always had it when he was pre-fishing, and then in the tournament he'd probably take it out, but. And then, a lot of guys just mount them on a board and have them down by their feet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
There's like quite a few guys. I know Greg probably has.
I saw the first year on tour. I was like, what?
And we're saying this is mainly for the Lake Master piece.
Mainly for the Lake Master, and it used to be for the side imaging too. Like I think everyone has pretty good side imaging probably now, but like the Humminbird like Mega SI is like legit. Like I think it's the best. And I think the sonar is the best too. Like it draws a little different picture than like Lowrance. You do get like the nice sexy arcs, but the Humminbird, it's more like they're lines. Like they're more lines than like perfect arches, and it's just different. But like, dude, like I love to watch my bait when I'm fishing, and I can watch a crappie jig in 30 feet of water on my Humminbird. So like that's as good as it gets.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Well said.
So Gussy, the guys you stay with, are you the father figure of the household?
Like the Johnstons have probably never done the dishes ever in their life.
I can believe that 100%. What about Grow? How about him?
Gro's pretty good. Gro's definitely like the number. Like he cooks some dinners. He'll clean up a bit. Like he's for sure like second.
Yeah.
Fighter, questionable.
Yeah, that's questionable.
He's just like so awesome to be around all the time. Like he's just like never in a bad mood. He's just like the best. Like he's just like always a pleasure to.
Yeah, you can't ever be mad at yourself.
Have you ever seen Corey and Chris just start going at it? Like, do they have like brotherly fights?
Yeah, like the best is just
no hesitation.
It's not like I've never seen them really like actually physically fight, but like verbally, they're ruthless. And it'll like usually Corey will say something dumb, and then Chris is like, "You're an idiot." Like you're an idiot. That's the line of that starts it. Like F you, and then no, you're an idiot. And best fight I've ever seen. And Seth had this camera guy come like a couple years ago, and this happened at Cayuga. He got this guy to come and like shoot video of us back at the house at night, and like it ended up being like not appropriate, most of it. And he put a couple videos out. I don't know. Did you ever see those, Greg? It was called Derby Boys.
No, I never saw them.
They were on YouTube for like about 4 days, and then he got told by one of his sponsors.
Oh, screw them people.
Oh my God, we got to get our hands on that content.
Appropriate. That word needs to be illegal.
Redefined.
So, but anyway, the funniest part of it, this is going into like day 3 of the tournament, I think, at Cayuga. So like I'm all rigged up, Seth's all rigged up, and we're sitting just sitting outside, and Chris and Corey are finishing up their stuff, and Corey goes, "I need some oil." And Chris goes, "Well, I only got 1 can and you're not having it." And Corey's like, "Fuck you, I need some oil. I'm doing better than you. Give me the oil." And then Chris is like, "No." And Corey goes in his truck and grabs the oil and starts walking it to his boat. And Chris goes, "That's fine, you can take it, but there's not a chance it's gonna make it in your boat." And he had like a flipping stick in his hand, and he whipped him with it, like in the back. And then Corey goes and starts trying to pour the oil in, and Chris comes over and pushes him, and it just turned into like a big fight. We're just like laughing and like provoking it. Turns out Corey had like a whole case of it. He just had so much crap in his truck, he didn't even know what was in there, but he had a whole case of oil. Anyway, so it was just like all for a big fight for no reason. But that was on video, and it was hilarious.
Oh,
that's
amazing.
Too funny. We need
Whoever
to see
that sponsor is, I'm not buying any of their stuff. Hit me in the DM.
Yeah.
They ruined good times. Dude, I got the most random call earlier tonight. It was hour and a half before the show. I'm jamming to get the notes ready, and I got a phone call from a friend of mine, but I haven't talked to him in years, Dean Sylvester. Gus, you know who Dean Sylvester is?
I know who he is. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So he's from Australia, and he came over here. He fished the opens, and really successful. And he has it. That was 2018.
Yep.
I can't believe it was that long ago. But anyhow, I was telling him, yeah, I'm just getting ready for the show tonight. And he's like, "Oh, he got on Bass You Live." I said, Gussy. He's like, "Oh, that's cool. Yeah, he seems like a really good guy, but man, I don't know. I can't deal with that accent.
He's the Australian guy.
I'm struggling to understand anything he's saying, you know what I mean? Because we got a bad connection. He's on the other side of the planet, you know what I mean?
Funny.
Yeah.
And he's got that heavy ass accent, and he's dogging the Canadian accent. I was like, is this really happening?
I'm not gonna like chirp him because Carl's one of my best buddies, like best friends on earth, Carl. And so, you know, he's got a good accent too. And I'm sure Dean's in the same realm as Carl.
Oh,
so.
yeah, it's a great accent, but he don't like the Canadian accent.
Hey?
He said it sounded like somebody, like, he's like, yeah, it's like somebody dubbed a voice on a different voice on the face, you know? It looks like.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's something about Terrence and Phillip. I don't know.
That's the first mean Australian I've ever heard of.
Brian, you have to line that up for Ike Live. You're gonna have to get them all on.
Yeah, me and Corey against Dean, and he can pick
Dean.
whoever he wants.
Yeah.
And,
We'll have the Canadians talk to the Australians and see if they can understand each other.
Oh, man.
and then we got to get a couple like Louisiana guys and a couple Alabama guys too, and it'll be a good. And like the Canadians will be the normal ones. Please.
I agree.
And Tacoito.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to even it out.
3 pounder. It's like a 7 pounder. Taku's awesome. We were both before Lake Fork last year. We both went and scouted around at Ray Roberts a bit where the Classic's going to be, and I hadn't talked to him before. And we were staying at the same hotel, so we ended up just going for dinner a couple nights. And like, he's the best guy ever. Like, have you talked to him before, Greg?
Plenty of times. He's so nice. His whole family's so nice.
Yeah, they're like top notch. He's a beauty. Like one of my favorite guys I've met.
What's Taco's story? Do you know his story? Like, is he, just fresh over here from Japan, or?
Yeah, no, I mean, he's a fish head. He's I think he's 32 or 33 and he's got a little guy that's like the cutest kid ever. And his wife, they're both over here right now. They're going back home just before Pickwick, I guess. But yeah, I mean, just like all of us, I think he just put that's just been his dream, is to fish the Elite Series, and he made it. And I mean, like, you think like Greg and I sacrificed to do it and be there. Like, this guy's going around the world, doesn't know anybody, a completely different language, and I mean, he's kicking our ass half the time. Like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very, very impressive. Do you guys, does your travel crew, in between the fights, do you guys work together? Do you share information, or how does that work in your household?
Like I talk to like Fighter and Grow a fair amount. Like we don't like, Chris and Corey are kind of on their own thing. Like, you never know but so I just, like, we don't really talk fishing a whole lot. Everyone thinks that we do, but I don't really necessarily with them as much. They have their own system, and it works. It's pretty deadly. They share all their winnings, everything. And so,
everything,
except oil. They don't.
Yeah. They don't. And oh, it's so like rods, or did you steal my jerkbait rod? And like, they'll like take stuff out of each other's boats and like not tell the other one. And one of them will like order a bunch of tackle and not like, where's mine? It's pretty funny, like some of the stuff that they do, but they do have a pretty deadly program, and but it's not like we'll we compare notes a little bit and try to help each other out, but we're not like really sharing spots or that sort of thing.
Who helped somebody? I heard on Bassmaster Live that somebody you traveled with said that you had them they had bass follow up a swim bait. They could see them but couldn't catch them. Kind of steered you into the causeway pattern.
Oh yeah. Clint Davis.
Clint did that. Okay.
Yeah. And he so he's a buddy. Like, we started fishing the FLW tour at the same time. and I was across the canal from him, and I was trying to like a Ned rig and casting at the bank my first sort of tour through there. And this was actually in the morning that day. But I didn't catch anything. And Clint called me and said, "Did you catch anything or see anything?" He goes, I had a Kitech down under my trolling motor, and I had a couple of fish come up to it and go down and come back up and go down, but they wouldn't bite. And I was like, "Oh yeah, really?" And didn't think much of it at the time. And then a couple hours later, after I had fished at like 50 docks and never had a bite, I'm like, I wonder if there is some smallmouth in that, deeper. And I went back just before I came in and dropped my Moping rig down there and caught a few. And I told Clint that I caught a few, but they weren't keepers. Like they were, 15, 16 inches. And I did tell him, but I just had nothing else to go to. So that's what I did.
Anthony Geiss on YouTube. You ever throw an underspin on that rig?
Around home I have a little bit, and it works good. I always associate an underspin with spotted bass. Like that's one of my kind of go-tos. Up around home, I don't do it a ton because we have a million pike, and the underspins, I could go through 10 of them in a day. So just usually use a regular jig and a jerk shad. But I think the underspin's worth playing around with, and especially just depends what body of water you fish. I know like at Lake Hartwell, we all saw what Casey Ashley did with it there, and I wish I would have actually. That probably would have worked pretty good this week for what I was doing.
You said Ron Lindner invented that technique.
Kinda, yeah. So I think James, like his son James, was the one that had a lot of success with it in some of the tournaments up here. But Ron was the one that sort of came up with we're going moping. Came up with the name, and that guy is such a legend, and really helped me out a lot, with my fishing career for sure.
Wow, awesome.
Yep.
Gussy, congratulations.
Yes. Okay, boys, thank you so much.
Amazing win. It was so awesome to watch. Look forward to seeing you at the next Derby, and thanks so much for inviting us into that really cool garage tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and look forward to doing it again anytime.
Yeah.
Greg, see you in a couple weeks, buddy.
Yeah, man, I'm proud of you, buddy. It's awesome.
Okay. Yep.
All right.
Congratulations, Gussy, the champ.
Thanks, bud.
Have a good night.
Thanks for the time, man.
That was awesome.
That was really good.
Yeah. What's some great stories there? Oh my gosh! Come on. We got to get that footage,
I totally
man.
see why everybody's saying, like, Gussy, he's just the greatest guy in the world. He's so easy to talk to. You want to be around. Like, just we had him on for an hour and a half. And I feel like, it's my best bud now.
I kept waiting for him to get miserable. It's like, all right, it's time to let him go. But he kept smiling and talking.
Yeah. That's awesome.
He's still good.
He's quite the hunter, too. We didn't quite get into all that stuff, but he does all kinds of hunting. He looks like he does some guide trips up there.
Where he lives, you better learn how to eat some food.
Yeah, that's right.
When it comes out, you better shoot it.
Yeah, that's awesome. He lives up in the boondocks. I love it up there, though. That's really cool. It was great having him. Brian, do you want to take a break? You want to get into Justin's top 5 list?
Let's hit that commercial break and come right back, Pete.
With JK. All right, guys, hang in there. We got some cool stuff coming. We'll be right back after this.
For North Carolina. From the drop shot rod to the flipping stick. Every rod has a purpose to it, and I rely on them all the time when I'm out there in a tournament.
Durability in the John Cruz Worman series, the counterbalancing in the handle.
It's the only rod I found that can withstand my hook set. Boom goes the dynamite.
We're different. Some would say obsessed. There's no place on earth we'd rather be than right here, right now. Performance-driven gear, so you can fish longer, harder. Gill's Performance Fishing.
One thing that's happened that's probably advanced our electronics more so this year than anything that has in a while, C Clear Power wiring harness. These units are designed to do a certain thing. If you're not getting enough power, enough wattage, enough voltage, they're not going to perform the way they're supposed to perform. C Clear Power wiring harness fixes that problem. One of the great things about the C Clear Power harness is it doesn't matter what brand of unit you have, it doesn't matter what kind of boat you got. The thing that you want from the C Clear harness is power. C Clear Power puts enough voltage to your units to make them maintain the performance that they're supposed to maintain. So if you're not seeing everything like you think you should see it, C Clear Power will show it to you.
Want to put it.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. Pardon me, JK. We're having a behind the scenes Bash University Live episode.
Ends. The learning never ends.
We can't stop. We can't stop. We can't turn it off. But no, never. Welcome back, Gussy. That was amazing. The stories, the knowledge you dropped about the sonar, the Humminbird stuff, and the Aqua view. Amazing stuff. Really appreciate them hanging out with us tonight. And all you guys too. Yep. A lot of funnies, a lot of great comments from everybody. Everybody's on their game tonight. Man, oh man. It's a good night.
We got
we
got the whole band back in town. We got Greg back. It's like everything it feels right, you know?
Yes.
That's right.
What was that you sent earlier? Was that the governor of Texas that announced he?
Yes, that was a tweet from the governor of Texas.
Okay.
What?
That's interesting.
What was a tweet from the governor?
The state of Texas is open.
He declared I just cured, or he said I.
Well, he opened He opened all venues back up to max capacity, 100% capacity, and he did away with the statewide mask mandate.
Interesting.
Wow, interesting. Right, as
and every other
COVID
fish is a PB in Texas right now. I don't know if anybody's paying attention, but
I am now.
Dude, there's some weird stuff going on. Like every fish is 12, 13, 14 pounds down there.
They ain't never felt cold weather.
February in Texas,
probably.
So Greg, that might be something there, right?
I mean, it has to be. It's immediately after the cold snap, and all of a sudden, all these giants are appearing. I swear, I messaged Jay Kumar. I says, "Is the rapture coming? What's going on?
Yeah,
is Jesus coming back? What's coming with all these 12-pounders in Texas?"
Yeah,
he said yes.
I believe it.
He did.
that it was the cold snap or the rapture's coming.
Jesus is coming.
Well, it's pretty awesome. We thought about it. People ask me about it. Like, is this cold weather? What's it going to do to the fishing? And I think that's likely going to be the case. And when this lets up, which it's doing right now, it's likely to have an explosion. Seems like it's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
But Rich, you're pointing to
me, I think.
BTC. I'm sorry, I'm catching the wrong signals. But I want to throw it right now because our own professional fish head always has something put together for us, and he has a top 5 list for tonight. And JK, the floor is yours.
Yeah, man. I could do a whole show on lists. Got lists upon lists. So actually, speaking of lists, there's a new newsletter out. If you subscribe to the Bash University newsletter, we're doing my Friday 5. So I'm going to hit you guys with 5 things that you do not need to end your week without knowing every week. And it helps me get more of the lists out. But right now, this is a featured piece in every week that you'll see. What are the hottest baits in bass fishing right now, this week? And yes, it changes every single week. And me being a fish head who spends way too much money on Tackle Warehouse, let's dive into it. The 5 hottest baits in bass fishing this week. At number 5, the limited time and limited amount left, you can only find it on their website. The Missile Baits Pearl White.
Wow.
D-Bomb and Baby D-Bomb. Johnny Cruz and Company gifting us all with a bed fishing bait that we've actually been asking for years, and he finally caved. It's only a limited amount. They will probably be sold out by the time my newsletter hits on Friday. Missilebaits.com is the only place you can go get that right now, guys. It's a limited run. So if your bass aren't spawning yet, go ahead and get your pearl white D-Bombs and Baby D-Bombs. Coming in at number 4.
JC, by the way, who had a strong top 10
Yeah, he did.
in last week's derb. Congrats.
Yes, he did.
Nicely done.
Good job, John. I know that has to feel good. So coming in at number 4, sold out everywhere. We saw a few fish caught on it in the MLF tournament while we were watching both derbs go on. I'm sure some were caught in the Tennessee River. Funny thing about this one was, our very own Mike Iaconelli actually got on a scrape of big smallmouth at the Tennessee River tournament and caught some giants on this bait before it was ever an official bait for Rapala, but he had snagged from himself, the OG Slim. So that's coming in at number 4. And guys, if you guys, I know you can pre-order them at Tackle Warehouse right now, but you're probably overpaying for them if you're getting them shipped to you in the next couple days. But that's a hot bait, cold season, cold cranking season. I'm sure there was some caught on the Tennessee River as well. Coming in at number 3 is a jerkbait we saw Wheeler throw. We saw Ott Defoe throw. I have heard of a few other guys around here, around the house, like this jerkbait. It's a more affordable jerkbait that's actually catching them. And we saw proof of that. And that's the 13 Fishing Loco jerkbait. I think it's priced around $12-13 or something like that. But that's a newer jerkbait that 13 came out with, and seems like it's going pretty hot right now. So I put that one at number 3 because of all the fish catches I saw on it. Number 2, it's no surprise, but Brian Thrift basically put this one here all by himself. And it's really a tie, because we'll just put both his baits here. Brian Thrift dominated the early part of the tournament that Cannell won at Red Crest. And basically every fish catch was on either a Zoom trickworm on a shaky head or a Kitech fat swim bait. So coming in at number 2, you got the trickworm.
Can't believe Brian didn't win that tournament. He dominated every single day that he competed. And that was crazy good tournament, Mr. Thrift. Great job.
Yeah, my heart goes out to Mr. Brian, because seemed like he showed up and he was leaving fish biting in multiple spots each day. There's no telling what he could have really done. If it was an accumulation, where you carried your weight over, who knows what happened.
By the way, interview winning the winner's circle, the new content piece from Bass University with Dustin Cannell was just filmed today and will be released very, very soon. So tomorrow. That's couldn't be more soon than that. So look for that coming tomorrow, as well as every other winner that we can talk to and dive in deep with is going to be coming to Bass University TV.
Yeah, I got to give a lot of props to Cannell for that interview. I got the sneak peek already, and Cannell gave up the juice. Really, really taught some guys some key things on his technique, and kind of gave up the goods there. So looking forward to releasing that to you guys tomorrow. And coming in at number 1 for the hottest bass fishing bait lure in bass fishing right now is the bait that probably caught more bass of all the guys in Greg's tournament at the Knoxville.
I know what it is.
The Berkeley Fritzside.
How about it?
Sold out.
John Cox was. You had three guys who were in the top 10, or at least they admitted it. But there were I've heard too many stories of guys who probably wouldn't come forth and say it that they were catching it on the Frittside 5, the Frittside 5 Junior. Heard of a couple Frittside 5 biggins, but mostly it was all the shallow one, which is the Frittside 5. They make three different.
Every front deck I saw had a Frittside on it. Almost
I bet.
every front deck.
How about that, dude?
Even mine.
I bet. And the key colors for most guys, Kentucky blue was a resounding fish catching color. Any red colors, guys were throwing the special red crawl and the candy apple red crawl. And then you had your spray tans and spring crawls, which is like your brown mustard, brown on the back, yellow sides, orange on the belly. I saw Hunter Shryack was pulling an Ott Defoe and pulling a Sharpie pin out and was taking his spray tan one, which is, I love the spray tan one, catch a lot of them at Hartwell on it. He was taking his Sharpie pin and drawing little crawl lines on it himself. So that was pretty cool to see. And I don't know if this color was key. It's been key everywhere else. But I did see John Cox catch a really big one early in the tournament, and that was the Ghost Morning Dawn color. So those are the colors and the information that I could gather on the hot fish catching. And I'm really glad that Greg confirmed as much about the front decks. That's pretty rad, dude.
Go check out John Cox's, seminar on teaching how he uses it. I love watching this Thursday. I'm sorry, I'm a couple days ahead. I love watching him fish. It was so fun. Congratulations to JC. John Cox in this situation.
Yeah.
Him and Cruz have the same initials, I just realized. But John Cox is fun to watch because he just smiles, man. He just is always having a good time.
And he's scaling his fish on a cooler.
That's a tough one, Mr.
Oh God, he's the best, dude.
Now
it is a scary thing that he learned how to crank, man. Like, I mean, Pete, you tell the story all the time. You roomed with him, and he had never thrown a crankbait. That was what, 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
How much of that is a testament to John Cox, and how much is it the Fritz side?
It's both.
It's got to be.
It's the power of that bait, but also just John knows how to just find fish.
For sure.
Yeah, John seeks out that shallow water, backwater, out of the way stuff, and he never had the crankbait as a weapon in his arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
So now you give him that weapon, and now suddenly in those areas where maybe he loses it on the flipping or the stick bait or his typical techniques. Now he's got the other technique that just kills him. And that attitude. I got to be honest. I think it's John's just,
that's where
happy go lucky. Hey man, I'm just out here happy to have crazy hair and fishing in the back of someplace.
I think he keeps himself so free of mind that he's able to read his intuition better than a lot of the rest of us.
You're right.
You know what I mean? Like he talked about why he went to the place and he ended up catching them all. It was just, just had a feeling, reflecting upon a guy that had caught him there.
Glenn Brown,
that's right.
Who passed away, had won an FLW tournament in that region. And, he remembered that or,
Yeah,
was
I
able
think
to
he
go
just
in
fishes
there.
free and he can, just kind of roll with it and connect better.
So as we're talking about this, I had to log on to TW real quick to see the colors that JK that you just said on those Frittsides, and oh my gosh, they just look.
Oh, they look good.
They look scrumptious. So guys,
are any available for purchase?
Yeah, there is actually. So guys, be on the lookout tomorrow. Here it is. You got to be a BUTV member if you're watching the show, you're going to hear me say this, but be on the lookout tomorrow on social. We're going to drop a TW wish list with some of these Berkeley Frittsides from tonight's show. So be on the lookout for that, and then you can claim your Frittsides and get out and catch those fish. I watched live
all morning on Sunday, and ate lunch, and then in the afternoon it was 41 degrees and raining. So I said, what better time to go fishing than right now? And it turns out there was a lot of better times because the fishing was really tough. But I locked that frit side in my hand for like 2 hours, knowing pretty well I probably was going to have slim chances at getting bit and catching fish. But I just wanted to cast the bait. I wanted to wind it in. I wanted to feel everything that it can do, and get an understanding of it, because I've caught a few fish on it, but like I say this all the time. I see baits and I see things come up that they just become too much of a buzz to ignore. And right now the frit side is that.
Yeah.
Like the power of this thing is undeniable. So you gotta make peace with it and just start to learn it, understand it.
It's probably one of the best casting flat-sided crankbaits out there.
Oh, yeah.
It casts really well.
Yeah, yep. And it's got a really unique buoyancy to it that it doesn't. I almost feel like if you got creative with it, you could make that thing suspend or become
for sure.
pretty damn close to it. And I mean,
sure.
right out of the box, it's got a slower rise than other flat side crankbaits. Like it slow rises, I think, a lot in comparison to like a balsa or something like that. It stays there, so it's so unique in how you have to fish that thing. And I think John is just really, really freaking dialed on. He knows with every quarter-inch turn of the handle, he knows what that bait's doing underwater, and he's thinking about a fish behind it and triggering those strikes.
It's got a different action, man. You don't even feel it in the rod. It's
Pete,
kinda,
we need a swimming pool
wild.
for the Bass University, by the way. We need to be able to look at these baits under the water.
We got a couple. We got a couple. We got Aqua View. We got it all. We're gonna figure it out. And I'm probably gonna ignore this bait like I did the chatterbait.
Yes. Go, Peter.
I did, JK. I'm surprised that the Shad Rap didn't hit your list, because I heard that a number of times.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it. The frit side, like Greg said, it just was undeniable. And I was already putting 2 crankbaits on this list. I could have put it all crankbaits. If we were just going to be watching, I'm trying to watch both tournaments and, get a feel for the missile deal. That's just a limited time for guys. But hey, that frit side, I tied on 2 baits for my daughter. I took her fishing on Saturday. I tied on her 2 baits, spinning rods. One was a Shad Rap, one was a frit side 7. So I wanted something that could get deep a little bit, because I knew she wouldn't always know to put her rod position down. So the 7 actually can get down to I'm getting it down to 8 to 9.
They get deep.
Dude, on 10-pound test, I'm getting that thing down. And we were fishing, over 10 feet of water, throwing the bank. And she's just winding this frit side around. And dude, the biggest fish of her life boils 5 feet from the boat. And it's like a 9 or 10 pound hybrid striped bass. And I mean, just rip and drag, and it's got this bright red frit side just chewed, and I'm freaking out, and she's caught actually a big largemouth before, a 6. But this was by far, the biggest fish she's ever hooked into, especially by herself. It was awesome. We got it in the net and just was a really fun time, to just see the joy she had. But man, she did not like having to throw that thing back. She didn't understand. We were in a tournament. She thought she was taking that back to the scale. So we had to learn the difference between white bass and black bass. But the frit side strikes again, man.
Wow.
Well, thanks for the list, JK. Well done. Appreciate you preparing that for us. And GDP, man, you've we talked a little bit about your last tournament. You got another tournament coming up. What are you thinking about this year out on the elites?
I mean, I'm thinking pretty positive. I mean, I can't think any other way. The St. John's actually really I learned a lot there. I found something in practice I've never, saw in the St. John's River. It just didn't work out for me. But
what did you find?
Well, I don't want to say too much because I think some of the guys do watch this stuff, but in practice, I saw 20.
Riz, reach over and twist his arm. Put the the Vulcan mind meld. What is that thing?
Let's just say I learned something. The next time we go back, if the conditions line back up again, it could be really nasty.
Okay.
But I sent Brian a picture. I want to tell you a quick story real quick from the Tennessee River. So I don't know if Brian can really show it too well. I texted it to him.
I'm gonna do my best.
So I never had this happen to me before ever. So on the Wednesday before the tournament, the last day of practice, I really keyed in on running them docks on the channel swings, and on my jig I had the hook completely bent over, and I had 6 bites on Wednesday I shook off. Well, on the last fish that I got a bite on the dock, I flipped my jig in there, and I got the bite, and I could not get this bass to let go of my jig. And I'm like, what is going on? I finally pulled this 2.5 pounder to the surface, and the bass went like this, and the jig came out. A crayfish down its throat was holding my jig inside of its throat.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Never had that happen.
That is insane, man.
Yeah.
That is.
Yep, true story.
That's
That is nuts.
That crawfish right there was in a bass's gullet.
Text me that picture.
I will.
I got this story has to be told.
Yes.
On social.
I could not. I did all I could. Like I literally pulled this bass out of the water with a completely bent over hook, and then the whole thing came out. And I'm like, oh my god.
And,
all right, we got to know what.
Yep. Isn't that crazy?
We got to know what color, what trailer, and what scent.
I can't tell you the trailer. Nobody's gonna guess the trailer.
So, do you and that crawfish now have a unique connection?
I freed him in a different area.
Okay, nice. All right. Where there were no fish?
There might have been, but he was not near that one.
That's amazing.
Isn't that something?
That is crazy.
That's a traumatic experience.
Like I almost felt like I was going to win. I was like, this doesn't happen normally. I ain't gonna lie.
Imagine being that crawfish. You were like centimeters from disappearing forever.
And
then you see tentacles and like this shiny barb, and you're like, save me, brother. Like,
and I out of the 6 fish I shook off that last day of practice, that was the only spot I didn't catch one of the fish I shook off.
Oh man.
Yeah. So that bass was pretty mad at me, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, he lost 2
That's
crayfish.
crazy.
Yeah, but
Wow,
that's my story. That's all I got.
What trailer? Come on.
I can't tell you.
Zoom chunk.
Nope.
Sorry.
It's a gel trailer.
Gel trailer?
Gel. Don't be Googling it.
Gel.
It's a great cold water trailer.
That's sick stuff right there.
Yeah, Uncle Josh.
Sorry, I'm sorry, Bashu. If you guys all subscribe that are watching, yeah, that's not going to help. They're not going to figure it out. I guarantee they won't figure it out.
They're smarter than you think they are.
There's a good trivia question for you.
Pressure him, Riz. We need some pain and suffering. We need to get this.
It's not helping, Brian.
Let the man win a tournament on it first, for crying out loud.
Oh, sorry.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We want to be the first to know.
Oh man, I can't tell. There's too many upper bay guys around here.
There's too many right next to you. Dude, that's
Well,
wild, man.
That was wild. I was like dumbfounded.
Yeah, man.
I was like, holy crap, that just happened.
It's like a Navy SEAL extraction, you know what I mean?
For real.
It's like,
no wonder the fish didn't bite again.
Yeah, that's what I
like,
mean.
Yeah.
It's like for a human, it's like ripping a lobster out of somebody's like stomach.
Their
and, like,
gullet.
He's not feeling too good.
Yeah.
So, what do you feel about the upcoming tournament?
Man, I feel good,
Where's your
Pete.
head at?
You know, something not really talked about, and I don't mean to bring the past up, but like last year, I had so many good tournaments I just did not execute well. That was the difference. You know, I had the bites in literally almost every tournament last year except for one to do phenomenal. I just lost the fish. It was just one of them years. So I know I'm doing the right stuff. I just got to have to come together every time. That's all. So
The execution is key.
it is big time, especially at that
And
level.
being able to trigger strikes and execute is the difference. It's amazing between middle of the pack and the top 10 in the field. It's such a very small difference.
Yeah, it really truly is. And we all talk about it. I mean, the boats we run today, there's no excuses. I mean, we have everything technology wise to find these fish and catch them. So and most of us guys are literally on the same level. Some guys do have more experience on certain bodies of water, yes, but I there's no excuse. You know, I just lost fish last year. That is it. This year, I have no excuse. I got to catch them. That's it. So.
Right. Well, I think you will. We're going to be watching. It was super cool to see you come across stage again, as always, and watch these derbies. And great to see you have a good tournament. And hoping for the best in the next derby. I know we all can't wait around here to get started fishing. You know, we've got so much coming up. We've got the BFLs coming up. Now, Justin's already gotten active because, you know, he lives down, you know, close to the equator. So
it's 80 degrees yesterday, man. Our fish are trying to get on bed.
Wow.
Yep.
That's
Come on.
It'll be here
today.
before.
It was cold today.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Tomorrow is supposed to be 55, almost 60 degrees around here, which is good for us. So we're happy to have that. And Rich, I want to throw it to you because we got a Facebook like and share coming up.
Yeah,
do you have a winner?
We got a Facebook like and share, and we also have a grand prize that I have to give away. And I have a question. There was a topic during tonight's show that I can throw out there. I think it'll probably be a pretty quick hitter, but I'll throw it out there. So we got the grand prize and the Facebook like and share coming up. Pete, are we ready to roll out on those?
Yeah.
Okay. So for the grand prize trivia question, which is going to be $100 TH Marine prize pack. Some of that stuff is laid out on the table in front of us. We got a troll jacket, G-Juice, cull system, TH Marine wave away. We also got some pretty sweet Minn Kota and Humminbird hats in there, some Gills hats. We're going to be setting you guys up with all that. And the question is, if Gussy had to sneak across the border, who was his confidant going to be to pick him up? Who was Gussy's pickup man?
Ron Lindner.
It's a race to the keyboard. Go.
Yeah. And how many gummy products did he have to consume to make that trip?
What kind of gummies we talking?
Yeah,
Oh, and we have a winner. That did not take long at all, as predicted. Lee C. Congratulations, Lee C. You are the winner.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations, Lee C. And
Dude,
we
how about Dean Sylvester calling from Australia
Just to say
and saying he can't stand that Canadian accent.
That's wild.
Their accent's not much different than ours. They just prolong some words with.
It was great, dude. I'm like, Dean, this is amazing.
Honestly.
Keep going.
It's very crisp. It's very crisp the way they, you know, articulate their words.
True.
It's one word. Which word is it? There's a word with a certain letter.
Oot.
No, not A, but they
No,
say
get out.
A. That's it. Like anything with an O.
Fuku.
What did that work too?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Gussy's
I'd
not
say-
as bad as Chris or Corey.
Is that right?
Yeah. I don't think he is.
Brian, do you see Dean catching all those GTs
I do.
out there?
I do.
Oh,
He's also got
good.
plans on coming back too. So.
What are his plans? What are Dean's
He
plans?
took 2019 off,
right,
with the intentions of juicing back up the bank account and getting himself prepared to come over here and compete again. And then 2020 happened.
Yeah.
And everything got shut down. And him being in Australia, you know.
Yeah, they can't get numbers.
No, they're on an island. They're you know, they keep it pretty tight. And it's worked for him. But so 2020, now we're rolling into 2021. We'll see how it goes. But he wants to come back and get after it again. So
I hope he does make it over here. And
Same
you know,
here.
he's
He will.
a tremendous competitor, great guy, you know, friend of Bass University, and you know, his accent's no better than the Canadians.
I tell you, that's a good accent. That's a good accent.
Is that for dating girls or just in general?
Girls.
That's what I figured
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah. So what's the weather going to be in North Carolina this weekend? Anyone know?
North Carolina?
Yeah.
Why you going?
Huh?
Where are you going?
Probably
What?
50s.
Okay.
Probably more than that.
High,
Well,
low
it's going to be a
50s.
high of 52 both days in Baskerville, Virginia. So you'll be a little bit further south than that. So you'll probably
What's Baskerville, Virginia?
Kerr Reservoir.
Is that where you're going?
Yeah, I think I'm going to make a run down to Kerr on Saturday this week.
All right.
Yeah.
And just spend the day just riding around the lake, just looking, you know, so that
All
so
right.
that when I get there in May, it's not the first time of gone to see it.
Good call.
So,
And you might see some good stuff you won't see it.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to pay attention to the water levels, and obviously, you know,
how you liking the new ride, dude?
it's pretty solid, man. It's I got it out for the first time on this past Saturday. I just took it down to the canal, get it up, get it running around a little bit, and you know, I fished a little bit, but I'm still in the process of rigging it and all that good stuff. But God, the mid range on those bass cats is just like insane. You know, you get from moving to really moving quick. So it's yeah, it's exciting to have that boat.
Pretty cool, dude.
Start dialing things in.
Nice.
Are you going BTC? You gonna tag along?
I'm going down. I'm going further.
Where are you going? You said Sharon Harris? There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Falls.
Oh, Sharon Harris?
Sharon Harris.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
He gonna catch bacon.
Get your Shane's baits out, BTC.
I'm gonna.
Are you going to see Joey Randall? Oh, you're going with Ike. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I can't hear what you're saying.
Going fishing.
With who?
Is there a reason?
Yeah, there's
What's
always
the purpose.
Or you shoot
Come on,
videos?
Nah,
spill it.
He's got an event coming up.
Who does?
Mike. MLF,
Okay.
big fish event. I've never been there, so he's allowed to run down with me. So we're gonna check it out.
That's cool.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what's that event called?
No.
Heavy hitter.
Heavy hitter.
Heavy hitters.
Mega
That's
bass.
what it
They'll
is.
change it by then.
Yeah. Cool. So you're going down with Ike. That's cool.
Yeah, I haven't got to fish with him like that in a long time, and it's been a grind. So
That's
I can't
awesome.
wait. Yeah, I can't wait, dude.
Very, very cool.
That's
All right. Well, enjoy that. And we have a Facebook like and share contest that we're going to give away. If you haven't liked and shared, if you're still watching over on Facebook, get after it right now.
Yeah.
Because
yeah, we're actually real close to 100 shares, guys. If we can get that number up to 100, we're going to toss a Bashu camo hat into the prize there as well. And I
I'll
don't
even
know.
sign it.
Have we heard the details on JK's tournament recap with Laney? I need to know, like, who caught more fish, who was better on the net. Like, we need some details on this because all I saw was Laney holding up all the fish.
Man, she had a time. I'm telling you, the biggest win, because this all came about where I was, thinking about selling the boat and putting it up for sale. And she said, "Daddy, you hadn't taken me to fish a tournament yet." And that struck a chord, And so I look and, there's a couples tournament on Hartwell. And so I call them. I said, "Hey, I'm not going to bring my wife, but will you let me bring my daughter?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, sure." These people were awesome, man. Just a great atmosphere to show up. I can't remember what they paid out 4 places. So maybe we had like 20 boats or something. But they let us ease off in the morning and they said lines in at 7:15. I was like, "Oh, this is perfect. I'll go 20 miles an hour. I'm only going about 3 to 4 miles away from the ramp." And she catches that big striper I alluded to. That was like right after the first bathroom break. Shout out to my buddy Bob Rutherford, who I stay with at Hartwell a lot. But he had a cabin, and I tried to find fish close to the cabin, because she's 7, and I knew that I would probably have to, use the cabin throughout the day, and we did. And but I got on that was after that. I'd only caught 1 on the Fritz side. And I noticed that all these fish, they weren't up on the banks. They weren't up on the points very good, but they were all, I could see them on 360 that they were all down there in the guts, like the ditch of the creek. And before I left, I was thinking about leaving. I threw a trick worm on a shaky head. Imagine that. And dude, they bit the entire day. They absolutely bit the entire day. And I mean, we caught so many fish. I don't even know how many we caught, but she netted a bunch. She reeled in a whole bunch, and she was in charge of the culling. So these weren't like tournament winning fish or anything. So, they were small, but they were all keepers. So she learned how to cull and do all that. I just kept her busy with it. You know, we were holding them up. You know, I didn't whip out the balance beam or the scale for any of them. I just wanted her to learn the process. And she had such a fun time doing that. It's like, which one's next? Yeah, grab number 4, you know, pulling out the TH Marine coal tags and stuff. And
awesome.
Really busy all day long. And finally, they started biting really funky. And I had like 3 or 4 really hard bites, and I was swinging and missing, and they're taking my tails out, and I ran through my trick worms. I mean, I ran through 2 packs of Zoom trick worms, and I was like, well, I guess I got to leave now, because I tried a few colors, and it's like they would not eat anything else. And I pulled out an Alabama rig and lit that school back up and made a couple calls. And then we had maybe an hour left, and Lainey had reeled in like 3 or 4 in a row, and she was tired because that, you know, I had put a big 7.6 cashin in her hand the last few fish. And so she was, you know, that was pretty heavy for her. And she said, Daddy, I think we need to go for a big one. I was like, oh, now we want to go for kickers. Okay. You know, but I was so happy to stay on those little ones. But we ran to a little brush pile I found probably last summer and caught like a 3.5 pounder out of 25 foot of water. And
that's awesome.
And that got us paid. And I'm telling you, I didn't even think about it, but she was so nervous because she was like, Daddy, how much weight do you think we need to get paid? I'm like, you're 7. How are you even thinking like that? And
she's been hanging out with you.
Yeah,
she hears your phone conversations.
Yeah, it turned out to be like 9.8 something got paid, and we had 10.83, and man, we just special time.
That's so cool.
I'm not very serious about selling the boat anymore. If I can get a few days like that, that's, you know, because I'm not fishing anything from the boat this year. You know, I'm planning on trying to maybe fish the opens next year, but man, that's kind of what was running through my head. But dude, that day on the water was better than any day I've had in a long time.
That's beautiful.
You know, you know, the All-American stuff, like that's great, but like the enjoyment in the moment, that's like stressful competition compared. Like this was just pure joy, man, the entire time. And she lasted 8 hours. She never said, Daddy, can we go? You know, I kept waiting for that, you know, and it was just awesome, you know.
Good deal.
She stayed engaged the whole time, man. That's incredible. It's so hard to do with kids. Maybe she has the gift, JK.
She might.
Maybe, man. She fished about half the time. The other half, she said, Daddy, I'm just going to hold the net. But that was a unique day. They literally bit all day long, you know.
Did she play with them in the live well? What did she do? Just
braid her hair.
No, she definitely was eating the snacks. I gave her, when she got her first keeper largemouth, and we measured it to make sure it was a keeper. It was like 12.5 inches. Yeah, I take a picture, and then she definitely earned her first ever Mountain Dew. The mom's kept her off soft drinks her whole life, so that probably also wired her up, and she never got tired, you know.
Yeah, that's good.
Did you let her get a cast of the good stuff, or did you monopolize?
No, dude, I tied a shaky head on her spinning rod, and you know that was different. You know, it wasn't just winding a crankbait in. You know, I think she caught one that way. A lot of times she would reel into it, and it would get off that way. So a lot of times I'd hit them and say, "Oh, I got one here," you know, and I'd, you know, just hit them real quick, and then she'd reel them in a lot, you know. So we may have lost some bigger ones, but we didn't lose a lot like that. But it just was, I didn't care, man.
That's a great day.
I didn't even care about, oh, we got our limit by 9 o'clock. It's time to go get a kicker, you know. That's just never passed my mind.
That's great. What a great day. Man, it's amazing. I had a tournament with Jake, you know, a couple years ago, and I look forward to the next one. So congrats on a great day, and congrats to you and Lainey, man. Third place.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, and you put a beat down on Brad Rutherford at the same time.
Me and Brad were calling each other all day. What am I up against? How much weight do I need? You know?
Yeah.
And he'd come back where I was. I think I saw him a couple times throughout the day. He was running and gunning, you know?
Yeah.
They almost got us. It was close.
Shout out to Brad at Pure Fishing in Berkeley. And
I got one more question on YouTube, and this was from Pavel Takarov. Hello, why are you all wearing hats? Or why are you all in hats? And Nathan Lawrence got our back. He said to hide male pattern baldness. Thank you, YouTube. You guys are amazing.
It's just easy for me.
Oh, come on. Pete still got his hair.
It just makes it easy. Great question there. Learned a lot. Love it. Hey, we got a lot going on. And thanks for these messages, BTC.
Yes, sir.
We want to talk about the Dustin Cannell interview, which JK, when's that released?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Some work to do. We got, we'll cut our little short clips probably first thing in the morning, and
I was just gonna say I'll add the teaser to my schedule.
Yeah. Thank you, Riz. I just literally got that thing finished uploaded while this show's going on. So I've been multitasking here.
How do we catch it? Where do we catch it?
BashU.tv only.
Okay.
The full interview is going to be on BashU.tv.
Got you.
And you'll see a juicy clip out on YouTube and stuff.
How long was the interview, Pete?
45 minutes or so. We dove deep.
It actually only was 34.
Oh. All right, 34 minutes.
Pleasantries and stuff before you got going.
We had DC on Ike Live back when he was a college angler.
Mm-hmm.
Way back in the day.
DC has won a Bassmaster Open, a Bassmaster Elite, and now he's won the Red Crest. He is a killer. 5 years
when we had
pro.
him on after his Open win. That might have been it.
Yeah,
ahead of the curve on a lot of these other guys.
Yeah, he's something else. So go check that out tomorrow, and also thank Alex. How do you say Alex's last name?
Rich.
Alex, the intern.
Nair.
Come on.
Thanks, Alex.
More syllables, Rich. Make it more complicated. Pete needs more. He needs it to be more complicated.
Related to Jeremiah ideas.
Hey, at least I asked for it and I didn't attempt to screw it up, So that's good. Thanks, Alex, for helping us here at BashU TV.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, and welcome to the program. Yeah. And I guess at this point we're going to send it over to Rich.
Yeah.
The like and share winner over on Facebook.
As always, our guys always step up. We got those shares.
Did we get 100?
We're showing in the. We're going to throw in the BashU official camo hat into the Facebook like and share prize pack. And tonight's winner is Preston Wiles. Congratulations, Preston Wiles, coming at us live from Cabot, Arkansas. You just won yourself the Facebook like and share. Thanks for watching BashU.
Right
and
on.
look for a new Bass University hat to be hitting the Tackle Warehouse shelves very soon.
What? No one?
We got something very cool, very new. And
what's it look like?
I don't know. I'll tell you in 2023 when I get mine.
I know. Why am I hearing about this? Where's my sneak peek?
I haven't seen it.
Well, Greg, we still don't know the trailer of your jig, man. Come on.
I'll tell you the trailer when I finally get a shirt.
All right. How about we swap? We'll do an even swap. Come on, we didn't hook you up yet. It's because maybe you're too thin. You don't fit into our triple X's.
It could be true.
We got a surplus. Of
I could sleep in it, man.
You and Kelly both together at the same time.
What? That's where my head was.
Oh, Brian. I knew something was coming out of that.
Brian.
Like, huh? What? Get out of my head, Pete.
Brian, you don't faze me.
All right.
Nor Kelly.
Well, guys, great show. Really enjoyed it. Thanks, Gussy, for joining us. What tremendous stories and great win. And we've got a lot more coming. We're going to be right back with you guys next Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And we got some cool stuff coming. We're going to be live from the Opens this year. as well. So look for that to happen and a lot of other great stuff. Go over to bashu.tv, get yourself subscribed, try it out for 30 days free. And barring any other unforeseen promotions, Brian, did I get everything?
No, I think that's about it, dude. Male pattern baldness, Bass U, let's go.
12 pounders in Texas.
That's it.
You know, it's all happening. Hey, thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next Tuesday. Bass University TV. Good night, everybody.
See you guys.
Hey guys.
It's Mike Iaconelli. This is Bass U TV.
Here's what's awesome about Bass U TV.
You get the top instructors.
You will learn things at Bass U that you will learn nowhere else.
And we help you build confidence with new techniques. We take the mystery and the myths out of bass fishing.
Real tools that help you catch more fish consistently.
At Bass U TV, shoes are optional.
And I like turtles.
We teach you to enjoy bass fishing.
And that's why you want to check out Bass U TV.
Join the Bass U family.
Welcome to Bass U TV.